Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is 7:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday, February the 17th, 2020. My name is Dave McRae. He's Tony Michael. This is episode 57 of Two Dudes and Some Bullshit. We are watching Joker tonight. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Yes. Tony Michael, how the hell are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing tonight?
I am doing good. I'm excited to watch Joker tonight with you. There is a lot to dissect, and there's no doubt we will not touch on all of it because there's just so much. And of course, with these streams, we're not pausing and talking about it. We're just letting it roll on through because, of course, that's what we have to do. So we're talking on the fly and in the moment.
Like every other scene.
We'd be behind. Exactly. No, you're absolutely right. So we will do our very best to touch on certain things that we see. There's no doubt there is a lot of layers to this movie. Let me just first say this before we begin here. Let me say that one of the things that that people have to begin to wrap their minds around when it comes to Joker is this is not a comic book movie. I mean, it is for all intents and purposes. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is for all intents and purposes, but it's not a comic book movie. This is a psychological thriller. And you've heard me say this when the movie came out. You know, this is a film that the crux of the narrative, the crux of the story, with some changes. I mean, obviously there is certain things that are relevant to the Batman universe, sure. But at the end of the day, the crux of the narrative in the story can be told with anybody. It could be told with me or you. They're using the archetype of the Joker. They're using the archetype of this character to sell it to you, to get your asses in the seats, because you wouldn't go see a movie if it, about this kind of thing if it was just, a regular guy. It's a very interesting take on something like this, and the Joker is rich with this type of potential. So they're using the Joker, but in theory, you can tell this story with anybody. But of course, it makes it much more interesting when you're using, this is interesting. It's like, it's a what if, right? It's what if the Joker was put in 1981's New York, modern day. It's like saying, what if, and now this is I'm being satirical, what if Freddy Krueger was put in Paris and he was a real guy, and like it's that kind of, and it could be anybody, but they're using Freddy to get you into the theater. You know what I mean? And so this is a psychological thriller at its absolute core, and there's a lot of symbolism in this movie and layers to deconstruct that we're going to do our best to. There's a lot of different interpretations, of course, but definitely we're going to have fun tonight. Tony, what do you think, man? Are you excited about this?
I'm pumped. I'm ready. This has been a long one coming. I know we've been asked to do this one since we started doing these live watch and hang out. Joker, I know, has been at the top of the request list, so I'm stoked that we're able to do this. Coming off of the week of Mr. Joaquin getting that Academy, although he, honestly, he didn't need that to, convince me as far as best performance of 2020. Honestly, most of the dudes in the category with him really gave phenomenal performances last year. Adam Driver in the Marriage Story was great. I forgot the other guys who were in his category. The Elton John guy. What's his name there? Oh my God, I see his face. And I'm drawing a blank on his name.
So, who?
The Elton John guy. The guy who played Elton John, who was nominated.
Oh, isn't that? Is that Taron Egerton or no?
Like that.
Is that him?
Like that.
Fuck, I forget his name now.
Anyways,
I always get him and somebody else mixed up. Him and somebody else mixed up.
My point is, everyone who was in the category this year, even in the supporting category, everyone did a great job. Really, they did. No one really, I don't think anyone really outshined anyone, but, Joaquin definitely, he took the Joker to another level that you couldn't think could be done. First you get, you got Jack, you got OG Jack, then Heath takes it to another level in The Dark Knight. And you're like, okay, nothing can ever top this. And then fucking Joaquin just knocks the shit right out of the park and totally blows us away.
And this is what's so amazing is that the type of movie Joker is, again, that psychological thriller. That's what it is. Gave Joaquin Phoenix the opportunity and platform to give us that kind of Joker. If this was just another superhero comic book standard run-of-the-mill basic, Joker movie, then we would have gotten, well, I don't even know if Joaquin would have agreed to that. I don't even think he's the right actor to necessarily do that, right? But that's why, is because it's not just Joaquin Phoenix, it's everything around him that's giving him the opportunity to deliver that kind of a performance, because it's a serious drama essentially. You know what I mean? And it's just, he was fantastic. I mean, I think maybe next for me might have been Adam Driver with Marriage Story, but I mean, Joaquin was just brilliant. Just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. His speech was good. I see people talking about it in the comments section. Yeah, I mean, look, I eat meat. I ain't sorry. I'll eat meat. I love my burgers. I love my pizza. I love my pepperoni. And yeah, that's never going to stop. But when he shouted out River at the end, man, even I was like, damn. Like, that even got me choked up. Like, when he quoted River, I was like, damn. That kind of hit you. And I'm glad he did that. It's like, I almost feel like he was like, I knew, like I felt like there might have been a conversation between him and River as kids, like, because, it was because of River, Joaquin got into acting, River brought him into it.
That's right.
I often wondered, did they ever behind closed doors, as kids say, one day I'm going to be up there, I'm going to, get my Academy Award. And sure enough, Joaquin got it. And, I wonder if that nod was something like that personal to him.
Didn't he get it for Walk the Line as well in 2005?
No, Reese did. Reese got it.
Oh, Reese got it, but he didn't. Okay.
Yeah, Reese got it for playing June Carter, but no, he didn't get it for Johnny Cash.
Well, he got it now.
Yes, he did.
All right, so let's flip and do this. Okay, so
where are you at? I'm at the Warner Brothers logo picture, the OG Warner Brothers logo.
Okay, 1 second here. Let me. Okay, one sec.
Of course, I am watching it digitally. Are you watching it digitally?
Yes. Okay, hang on. Right now, I am at the. Okay, I'm just going to pause it on the. Okay, I paused it on the old school Warner Brothers pictures. Warner Bros. Pictures with a red background, the black in the middle. That's where I'm paused. So that's where we are, folks. If you want to watch Joker with us, that is where we are. The old school Warner Brother Pictures logo with the red background and the black. We have it paused right there. It says Warner Brother Pictures in white underneath. We'll give you a couple of seconds to line this up, and then you can, of course, follow along with us as we move along through this movie. All right, there we go. Okay, are you ready, Tony?
I am ready, sir.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right.
And you hear the little thing talking, the radio.
Yep.
Yeah. I even love that. Like, these are little Foley sound effects that I've been picking up. And this is like the 8th time watching it. Like the authenticity of that. When you listen to that radio talk, the guy talking, that really sounds like the period. You know what I mean?
Of course.
It's like little things like that I'm picking up even more. And it's just like, God, the layers of this film and the production quality. It's like fucking top notch, guys.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh yeah. The production value and the production quality of this movie is top notch. There's no doubt about it.
This is where Margot Robbie failed with her Birds of Prey project. She should have taken a beat, taken a timeout, watched the success of this and said, okay, let's revamp this and go back to the drawing board. And I think we would have been in a totally different, because this was really the first, even though it's not directly a DC, film, part of the DCU, and I get that. Right. This was the first universally received since the Nolan trilogy DC film that everyone kind of liked. There was really not. There's you had your leftists who were offended by the film when it came out with the killings and shit, but for the most part, this was universally loved. This should have reset the tone of the DC universe, because I guarantee you, Matt Reeves is taking notes for the Batman, and he's going to make sure he applies this to the Batman.
I mean, even the sign here that he's twirling, it says, everything must go. Everything must go. Think about that. Yeah. Think about that. Think of the symbolism with that sign that he's holding there. That's not an accident, folks. You know, pay attention as well when you're watching this film. Pay attention to the street signs in the background and some of the things that they say. Like at the very end of the movie, when he's on like you know, the cop car, the strip club in the background is called Ace in the Hole. I mean, think about that, right? You know, cards, Ace, Joker, tricksters. This movie is riddled with symbolism.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, the production design is great. This, I believe, was shot in Newark, New Jersey, and on a street where they actually digitally put in a lot of the buildings.
And you can't tell.
No, you can't. Watch the CGI. Watch the CGI. Watch the special features on the Blu-ray or 4K or whatever of this movie. And even the graffiti that you see on the walls and things like that was digitally put in there. That's fantastic.
You know what I mean? That's what's so cool.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And of course, I got to say, the score in this movie is absolutely fantastic.
My vinyl's supposed to come like any day now. I ordered it a long time ago, but like everybody grabbed it, and I kind of was late to that party, and I'm in the back order. But they did ship it, and I'm waiting for it to arrive because I agree the score is just amazing,
unbelievable. And the score was
shot. The center frame shot, slightly out of focus in the foreground, clearly in focus in the background. Like that is a pull focus shot. It's so hard to do, and I try to do it with my photography sometime. Like that was the kind of shit, like when I'm watching the movie as a photographer, I'm like, oh, I can't believe they're doing that. It's so fucking awesome.
Right. Yep. I agree. Now, this is such an interesting scene.
You gotta explain this.
I gotta explain this. So there's a clock in the background in this scene here where he's talking to the therapist, and the time on the clock is 11:11. Okay. Which is symbolic in and of itself, even on a rudimentary level in terms of, it's 11:11, make a wish, right? You know, that sort of fun pop culture thing that we have. When he breaks here in a few moments and it cuts to that cutaway of him in the hospital where he's banging his head against the door, above him it says observation room. And there's a clock on the wall beside him there. And the scene's very fast, only, a couple of seconds, but the clock in that room also says 11:11. Yet the memory that he has of that and what's happening here, they're happening at two different times, supposedly, right? Like he's thinking back to that's a different time. But what that is telling me is that this is actually, it's the same time. Yeah. It's all happening at the same moment at the same time, which leads me to believe that what you are actually seeing here with Joaquin Phoenix is you're watching something that's already happened, and that the end of the movie is actually the beginning of the movie. So he's probably, and again, there's many different ways to interpret it, but he's probably not really, we're not seeing this play out as is. We're watching his memories from his perspective, and we're watching him thinking about these things.
How you catch that? Yeah, those little details.
Yeah. Even the posters on the wall behind her, right? They say something, I forget what that poster says behind her, but it says something like, you can, what does that say there? You can have help, or
I'm ahead of you because it just.
I'm at where am I here? I'm at 5:35. His knees are going up and down.
Yeah, we're even. I was a second ahead of you. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But look at the clock, okay? The clock behind him says 11:11. That's a very, very everything in a movie like this, when you're dealing with psychological thrillers, it's very Kubrick-esque. Things in the background, they all have specific meanings, especially when you're doing a film that is about somebody who suffers from, delusions of grandeur and, possibly schizophrenia with some grandiose narcissism. There's a lot of things in there that really sort of that pay into the symbolism that you want to sort of plant throughout the film. And it seeps into your subconscious as a viewer. You're not supposed to notice it really consciously.
Right, because you're not looking for things like
that.
Most people aren't,
That's right.
The people who dive into the film and go even deeper with it and catch those you and catch those little things. And it's like I was saying to you, like, this part of this, of what we're watching is the whole, what he wished his life could be. And we said before we went live, the most common thing that people do
Yeah.
When they make a wish for something on a clock, usually it's when 11:11. When they see 11:11 on the clock,
here it comes.
That everyone does, like, I wish this, I wish that. So he's wishing his life to be a certain way, but
right.
It's not.
There it is. There's the time. 11:11. 11:11. Observation room. The word observation, right? The word in and of itself, observation. We're observing him. He's observing things in his own mind, in his space. And then the time 11:11 again appears later in the film when he's smashing the clock at his place of work, and it falls off the wall there. So this is, I mean, there's a few ways you can interpret this there, and I'm not here to suggest that it's all in his head, but what I think is likely happening here is that what we're seeing here is the story that's probably already happened, and when we get to the end of the movie and he's really there in the room, he's been there the whole time. He's actually been there the whole time. And there are certain aspects of the film, like this here. Was he actually on the bus, and did he actually have this experience with the boy? Yeah, probably. Yeah, sure. I can believe that. But there's certain things that probably happen in the movie, that we know. Did he go to the comedy club? Maybe. We know that the girl is not, there was no relationship there.
No, but she was real, but just no relationship.
Right, exactly. So there's little things peppered throughout the movie. It's a mixture of things. It's both. It's real and it's not real. It's both. And that's what makes it so interesting to watch and rewatchable, because you can pick up on those subtleties and nuances that make you go, oh, wait a minute here. You know what I mean? Even Todd Phillips has said, and I'm paraphrasing, but even he said, maybe he's not, I'm paraphrasing, but he alluded to the fact of maybe he's not even the Joker. Maybe he's just some crazy guy who has this grandiose, fantastical, imagination that has imagined himself as the Joker. Now, obviously, if you were to do a sequel, that would have to be confirmed or denied, right? And I'm not saying that is it, but even the director has said that that's a possibility. We don't know. And that's really interesting.
No, I don't think the girl's ass at the beginning of the shower scene. I love that. No, I don't think Dave is implying that it never happened. I think what Dave's implying is that these are the events that happen and we're reliving it, but at the end of the film is actually the beginning of the film, and we're getting caught up to now current time. Right.
Yeah. When we get to the very end of the movie and he's in right. And he has that thing of Bruce Wayne and the Joe, he's actually been in there the whole time. Yeah. And when we see him hitting his head on the wall a few moments ago and the time says 11:11, that's because that's what time it really is.
Right. It's present time.
Right. And when he's thinking about these thoughts in his head, it's like having a dream. You see something and then it makes your way into your, subconscious, into your mind. So the clock says 11:11 on the wall because that's what time it really is.
It is. Yep.
Even this here, his mail is in a jail cell. Yep. Right? His mailboxes are behind bars in a jail cell. Very, very symbolic.
Catching those deep meanings, man. But yeah, no, I think all of this happened, and I agree with you. I think at the end, it's that like, oh, that's how I interpret it. I interpret it that he was already there the whole time, and we just relived a lot of the events, and we went through different scenarios that he played out in his mind. I do think when we get to like when he gets batshit crazy and starts offing people, I think that really happened. I don't think the girl happened. Just like how he imagined himself coming up, actually, right now, the scene where he imagines himself on the Murray show.
That's right.
That totally was, in his head. But I do think eventually he gets there.
Right. I tend to agree with you on that. But it's interesting to play around in the area of, well, was he? I don't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of fun to go there and think how much of, maybe he was on the show, but then, okay, how much of the show happened in the way that we saw, right? Maybe he really did kill De Niro, But how much, like there's so many, because when you are this type of a guy and you're mentally ill with what he has, he creates, these fantastical things to make himself feel important, to make himself feel needed, validated. A part of the world. Todd Fayer sends in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Todd. Much appreciated. Smiths Grove says, I believe it's a social commentary film that just so happens to be told from the Joker's point of view. Well, essentially, yes.
That's what
essentially,
you're
yes.
saying.
Yeah. It could be told. It's using the archetype of the Joker to sell tickets.
Yep.
It's Travis Bickle years later. Zach Axiola says, at Dave McRae, do you guys believe a sequel would ruin the impact of this film?
Depends.
It depends. I don't think it doesn't need a sequel. It's strong all on its own.
Remember, not all sequels are bad. Aliens is good.
No, that's
Godfather
right.
2
Yep.
is great. Empire
Absolutely.
Strike Back is great.
Yep.
It just depends on what they do.
That's right.
Do they continue the Arthur Fleck story of him, without Batman? If we don't do any Batman or anything that,
yeah.
What do? You know what I mean? Because you need the yin to the yang. So if he's escaped from Arkham ultimately and is, fucking causing, mayhem and fucking people up, you're gonna need someone to counter that, which ultimately means you're gonna need Batman in the equation.
Right.
And it's like, I'm kind of leery on bringing Batman into the equation, with the exception of there's a story out there that has never been told before in the Batman universe in live action. It's been done animated. And that's the Death in the Family story, which is, if you remember, that's the first time to kill off the Jason Todd Robin, who's the second Robin. He follows Dick Grayson.
Right.
That's a very dark story of Joker and what Joker does to Robin throughout that series after he kidnaps him and basically beats him senseless until the inevitable end. Spoiler from a comic that came out 30 years ago.
Right.
Building blows up and Robin dies. Batman doesn't get to him.
Right.
Joker gets the better of Batman. I can picture a Joaquin Phoenix Joker doing that to fucking Robin and just fucking like how he tees off on the guy in his apartment at the end of the film here. That's going to come up in about an hour or so.
Yeah.
I can picture that version of, and not only teeing off on Robin, but laughing about it through the whole process of doing it.
Right.
Which we saw how Joaquin was able to display that so easily that you can commit something so bad and laugh about it at the same time. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think Heath could have done that in that story arc.
Right.
So if they were to bring Batman into the equation with this version of the Joker, that's one story arc that they could do, because it fits the same dark and very, it wouldn't be a happy movie, because ultimately comic book fans know where this shit's going to end. So that would be one idea that hasn't been done, and keep the same tone with, the Joker that they've already set. If they didn't bring Batman into the equation, again, how far do you go with him? That's the question, because you're going to need the yin and yang,
Before I give my thoughts on that, this is really important too. Obviously, this is all in his head. This entire sequence here, as we know, is all in his head. Yeah. He doesn't have a father, and he doesn't have a father figure in his life. And Murray is sort of he has these delusions because he wants to be a comedian. He idolizes Murray. He looks up to Murray, and he sees him as this fatherly type figure. You know what I mean? And that's why in his own mind it plays out perfectly, exactly what he dreamed it would play out like. So it's
definitely not the Pattinson universe. Like
no.
Like, people need to get that out of their head.
Now, I believe that there is something weird going on between this big guy here.
Oh, and
yes, because
Arthur,
of the
absolutely.
Watch the framing here. And I know they're going to be people saying, it's just, trust me, when you know how movies are made, when you know how psychological films are made and written, very few things are just because. When you are establishing, especially a film with many different layers like this, every shot, every frame, every angle, every angle is deliberate no matter what. He stands in front of Arthur. Arthur is topless. It's the way that he's standing in front of him. where his eye line is in terms of his gut and his crotch, and then watch the way he says, "You're my boy. Otherwise, you're going to get fucked." He's like, "What are you doing? Shh, quiet." It's underneath. It's subtext. Don't sweat it, Arth. No one has to know. So you can pay me back some other time. You know you're my boy. Come on, think about that. Wouldn't you just say, "Come on, man, you know you're my guy"? Why are you going?
Possibly, yeah.
Why are you going? You know you're my boy. It's a little sexual, don't you think? You know, a little sort of under the
sure.
Because when Arthur finally murders him, it's almost like a murder of passion. Like it's almost like this. You know, it's more than just, "I told the cops that, you know," or "I told people that," or "you had a gun," you know, or something like that, right? And he's clearly there to get the gun back, as not to be traced. But when he kills him, it's like he's freeing himself. And then, of course, he's walking down the steps to Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll Part 2, and we all know that Gary Glitter is a convicted pedophile. So just, I mean, there's a lot of things there that are interesting in terms of and this look on his face coming up is fantastic. The in terms of where to go. You leave Batman out of it. You leave Batman out of it completely. Because Batman in this film is only about 10 or 12. In order for Batman to be in the next movie, you'd have to fast forward by another 10 years.
Which I think at the end of this film, that's what's implied, because he's older. When you look at him compared to here, he's older at the end of the film. He's a little grayer.
Yeah, I think he's a little grayer, sure.
You know what I mean? So I don't think implied that he's older.
Yeah, I don't think that much time has gone by, but I will say
he knows what's going on in the city, because he knows what he's created, and that's why he says to him, "You don't know the joke," and he knows what he's created, reflecting back to what happened to Bruce Wayne's parents. Right, so I think Batman is around by the end of the film, because I think that's the joke she doesn't get, because you would never show that symbolism of the Bruce standing over his parents. You know what I mean? If Batman wasn't there, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's a great look on his face.
Like, you see how he's just going bonkers here? Now, again, hypothetically, if they were to bring in the Batman into this world, the story arc to tell would be the death in the family story, because I would just love to see his version of the Joker doing what Joker did to Robin in that series. It would be so fucking intense to watch. You're basically watching a 2-hour film of a superhero get his ass handed to him and beaten to death with a crowbar.
Right. I respectfully disagree that the end of the movie is obvious that it's 10 years later.
Why Wayne standing over his parents then?
Well, because I think the joke is that the irony of it is that Wayne is now the orphan that Arthur was. And he's what he caused.
Yeah, because they died the night of the riots, though.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm saying it's years later when he's reflecting back on that.
But we don't know how many years later it is. I don't think it's I don't get the impression it's 10 to 12 years. I mean, let's face it, right? Okay, let's say he's 12, right? So it's got to be at least 10, and maybe even 12 or 13, maybe even 15. For Batman to be in his mid-20s, let's say.
Which she was by then.
Yeah. I don't know if it's that far, excuse me, later. I think the symbolism of what he means at the end can certainly be debated and sort of what angle they're going to go in. Sure. But I do feel strongly about, I don't think a sequel needs Batman.
But no, what I mean by that is just if they did, you need to tell a dark story that hasn't been told. You know, if you're going to bring the Batman,
if you're going to do it,
you've got to do something dark. You've got to do something heavy. You can't change the tone. But I agree with you. Don't bring him in. Keep it as is and keep it going.
Well, I think the most logical choice from here would be that you continue Arthur's story. And then you need, as the writers, you see, making a sequel is tricky because this movie works on so many different layers that it's almost like I don't want them to make a sequel Because when you make a sequel, there will have to be concrete answers to things that are left open to interpretation. Sure. And if you're going to make a sequel, then you have to make the decision, okay, this is actually the Joker then. It's not a guy that might think he's the Joker, which I actually think is I know a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I actually think, and this comes from the director of the film, folks, I actually think the idea of even just thinking that an option is this guy might be just so crazy that he thinks he's the Joker and he's played this out. Like he's actually done this, but he's really not. I'm not saying that is it. I'm just saying that is one interpretation. But if you make a sequel, obviously you have to solidify that, yes, it is. Maybe not, but yes, it is. And then you probably start with him in the asylum. And then, of course, again, it's just the continuation of him becoming the ultimate, clown prince of crime. And then by the end of maybe 2 or the end of this trilogy or whatever it is, then you can introduce Batman, but you never make any more. You just kind of, it's alluded to the fact, oh, that is where Batman would come in at that point. I think, I don't know if this is I don't know.
It's tough. It's tough because like you just said, if they make a sequel, then you're saying he is the Joker, and you can't have one without the other. The two are, right. The two are married to each other. And honestly, it's another reason why Birds of Prey didn't do well, because people think that there's this big demand for Harley Quinn. Harley's a great fucking sidekick. What Harley Quinn is to the Joker is what Robin is to Batman. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like she's a strong sidekick, but she's not like, I want to stand alone. If you're going to have Harley, you need the Joker. If you're going to do a second Joker, I love that when he's just a cut.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you on that, because I agree with you that if you were doing, like, if this was the Joker that we know, if this was any other situation, I would agree with you 100%. But because this is sort of something we haven't seen before in terms of telling a story this way, that doesn't mean there are not parallels to a lot of the things that you point to in terms of tone. Yeah. But because we haven't seen it told this way, I didn't miss Batman from this movie, and not from this movie. And I don't think we could. I don't know if I would miss him again.
Films?
Yeah, because
that's tough.
Well, but because it's about his story before Batman, right? There was a Joker before Batman.
Sure. No, absolutely.
But and so it's interesting telling the darker psychological layers is what's driving the narrative. But to your point, and to, I think, most people, it's like, it's a movie that really doesn't need a sequel. It's a film that sort of has its own.
And that's ultimately
it's its own thing. It's not that world. It's not that world. It's not that. You can't draw those parallels, or you can't say, well, if it was that world, yes, but this is a psychological thriller. This is, what if we took the Joker and put him in a movie like Scarface? What if we took a Joker and put him in a movie like The Shining? What if we took the Joker? It's a different world. It's totally different. So,
that's why it doesn't need a sequel. Ultimately, I agree with you on that. Because if you make a sequel, now you're putting it into really the comic book world at that point. I mean, you really are.
I think there are things that would have to be expanded on in order to, you would have to give definitive answers, right? Like, you'd have to give definitive answers into a lot of the ambiguous things that you left in this movie open to interpretation.
And why you're going to leave Batman out for the second time around. That's a very key component.
Yeah. See, I think
explaining to your audience why we're not there with it.
I think, and we tend to disagree on this, but I tend to think that you can do that by saying that the movie's only a couple years later.
Oh, I'm not saying you can't.
Yeah.
You can. It's just it's a very risky move to do 2 films with the Joker without Batman. Because at this point, he is, if you do it, like you said, if you do a sequel, now we're saying he is the Joker that we all know. Without Batman,
he's
okay.
He's the Joker we all know, but in a different, in an alternate reality, like the Joker we know in terms of, I guess I should have been more clear. The Joker we know in terms of, it is Joker. It's not some guy who thinks he's.
Shot of him sitting at the table.
Sorry, it's great.
I love the framing, the lighting, just Boy, this is one of my favorite shots in the movie. He takes the drag of the cigarette and just, it's
it's fantastic.
Beautifully lit. I love even the lighting in the kitchen, how you're catching that off onto the side there on the framing. Like, it's those little technical things, man. That's the shit that geeks me out as a film guy.
Yeah.
Like everything,
and
like
the
you
score
can even
is
see
just
the
brilliant.
silhouette of the chairs, you know, like you don't make out the full details, they're silhouette, but you know what it is. Like that's lighting,
right.
When you're lighting a set like that, that's just fucking art, man. Like you are an artist and you know what you're fucking doing.
Yeah, that goes to the lighting crew, the grips, the DP. And Joaquin lost something like 50, 60 pounds for this role.
Did he keep the notebook? Did he? I think he said he kept the notebook.
I have no idea. He might have. He might have kept it.
But yeah, sequel to this film, I think, is going to be open to debate for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think
it's going to be, and I think there's both sides are right. Like what you're saying about not needing Batman is absolutely spot on. There's going to be a lot of people who are going to feel, well, I do. It's like, can I do another film without having his 100%. Counterpart? You know what I mean? It's an interesting scenario because this, like you said, this is not the normal formula of a Batman universe film.
Right. So it comes down to, okay, we've watched this movie. We've seen this part of Arthur Fleck's Joker story, if he really is in fact the Joker, right? Which by all account, there's no reason to think that he's not, right? I mean, there's no reason to think that he's not. Although there is that, is he, or is he just some crazy guy? Who knows, right? But by all means, by all accounts, okay, so we've seen this part of his story. Now it comes down to, is there more of his story to tell without Batman before it gets exhausting? Right? Before it gets repetitive and redundant. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I love when the gun drops on the floor here in the just absolutely. But definitely when he has the scene just prior to this, when he was having that conversation with the neighbor, I don't believe that happened at all. I don't believe the neighbor came to the door and had that conversation with him at all. That's what he's imagining that happen. Like we all picture that, right? Like guys, you know, when you're a teenager, right? And there's a girl that you think is cute, you know, and you're lying there in bed, you know, and you're like, fuck, you know, and you picture kind of moments that you would have with that girl. I don't mean those kind of moments, but just like hanging out with her or whatever, right? You know, you picture you going to the movie. That's what's happening there in his head. He's picturing himself being with this person. This probably actually happened in the telephone booth.
Sure.
Talking on the phone there. Yeah, for sure. Robbie Kizzle says, who directed this movie? It was Todd Phillips. Anthony T sends in a super chat. Thank you, Anthony. Says, Dave and Tony, the real question is, do you milk or cream in your coffee? None. I can't stand the taste of coffee.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee either.
I haven't had a coffee in 19 years.
I do drink milk, but I'll dunk cookies in milk. You know what I mean? Like occasionally, if I'm in a mood for like some type of like Italian cookies is usually what I'll eat. Like homemade Italian, and I'll have like a little glass of milk or something.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not really much of a milk drinker though. Although no, that's not.
I like
true
chocolate milk.
I do have protein. Milk is in my protein shake, so light milk. I don't like protein powder with water.
Yeah. I like
coconut milk.
Right. I like chocolate milk. Todd Fayer sends in a super chat, says, do you guys watch Outlander? And if so, what are your opinions? I know you guys are talking Joker, but was curious about Outlander, and have a great day, guys. Thank you, Todd, for the very generous super chat. I don't. I've never seen it. Tony?
Same here. I haven't seen it.
Sorry about that, buddy, but thank you so much for supporting the channel in that way. David Lee Barron sends in a super chat. Thank you, David. Says, with respect, if Heath Ledger didn't die, would he be receiving all the worship and rave that he gets today? He was fantastic, but is he that fantastic? I think to a certain level, I think he would have the, yes, I do. I think he would still get the appreciation that he does today.
Yeah. I love this scene too. This
is
a great, powerful scene.
Yep. It's a great scene. Yep. I couldn't agree more.
And it's so true. You know, like when you are someone, even like me at times, I feel when I'm in a situation, like when I do events for people, like corporate events and stuff like that, like for New York Life Insurance, and I'm around all these like rich people in suits and stuff like that, I always feel out of place. I never feel like, even though I'm there to do my job, I always feel, and I like, that's the symbolism that I took away from this scene of like being that individual in a situation with people that I don't feel like I belong in.
Right.
You know?
I understand. And that woman on the subway who left and looked at him, I believe that really happened. But I don't believe that later in the movie, when you see Arthur see her again in the back of the taxi cab. Do you remember that scene?
Yes, I do.
I don't believe that is actually happening, because he's seeing that because of his memory. He's seeing that it's like how things in your day seep into your subconscious and they appear in your dreams. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm taking away from it, because it's very clear to me that the woman in the back of the taxi cab with the clown mask on is the same woman that we see here, even though you can't see her face. And I don't think he actually sees her in the back of a taxi cab. There may be somebody in the back of a taxi cab that he sees, but I don't think it's actually her in reality. Yeah, this score is just brilliant. I've got to get this score. And this is the moment, of course, where there is that release. This is the moment where that all that built up, tension and abuse that he's taken, not just from these guys. There you go. Not just from, but the abuse he's taken his whole life. Because remember, it was said that he was abused as a child. And that stuff is suppressed. That stuff is, he may not be thinking about that,
And this was the part that the extreme left media was upset about, that they're saying the answer that he's saying is violence by shooting and killing people. No, this is showing you. Answer. No. What this is showing you is that when you bully someone and you push them, like the two kids at Columbine High School, and they were bullied and bullied, and they got to the point where they were like, fuck you, and they turned on the kids in their school. Oh my God, we didn't know. No, the movie's trying to convey to you, this is what happens when you push someone to a point where they're like, fuck it, I've snapped and I'm now going to go after fucking society for shitting on me. This is, you look at any mass shooting, 90% of them involve someone being bullied and fucking finally snapping.
100%. Sorry, I just want to interrupt and say, and this is very symbolic here as well. The final shots go into this very wealthy guy at the bottom of the stairs. Yep. He's trying to climb the stairs back to his life, back to his wealth, right? The stairs going upwards, right? Upwards in the terms of society, right? There's the cesspool, or there's different levels, right? But there's the poor that live at the bottom, and there's the rich that live at the top. And he's trying to climb his way back up, but he's murdered right at the bottom. And Arthur, who is now finding himself freer, is now running up the steps past him. Of course, it's a false sense of riches, so to speak, within Arthur. And something also too, which is interesting, Arthur's mother's name in this movie is Penny. And Arthur, at the beginning of the movie, in his book, he wrote sense, like to make sense of things in your mind. He wrote sense, C-E-N-T-S. That's how he wrote sense, which he wrote it like the penny. And his mother's name is Penny. That there says to me, they are both very poor, right? They're poor. They come from poor. They don't have much. His mother's name is Penny. He writes senses as C-E-N-T-S. All that shit. When you know what to, that shit is riddled through here. Again, and then of course we have the small Masonic floor here as he's beginning to dance on. Very symbolic.
He could be actually in his cell.
He could be in his cell here. Yeah. He could be in a cell. And this is what but this is that freedom that he feels. And this wasn't actually going to be the scene, as you guys know. The scene was going to be, he was going to throw the gun away, wipe the makeup off.
I'm glad they did this route. This is so
bang on.
Perfect.
Bang on. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's him. It's like a transformation, as they said, right? Yep. It's this metamorphosis, this thing that's coming out of him. And then when he looks in the mirror and he sees who he really is, or who he has become. Of course, we don't get to the ultimate height of it till later, but
the music, it's just everything.
Yeah.
And I know Parasite won for Best Picture, and Parasite is a good movie, but it doesn't get me like Joker. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I finally saw it, and it's good. I mean, I get why it won.
Good movie. Yeah.
But, and I'm not gonna spoil it for people in chat. If you've seen it, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a good movie. It did. I like Joker better.
Yeah. There he is. His arms open, like I'm here.
It's me, bitches.
It's me. And that's really important. And of course, as he walks down the hall here, this isn't actually happening. I mean, we know that we actually do know this. Like, this isn't speculation. We actually do know that he didn't walk down this hallway, knock on the door, and make out with this woman.
Maybe it's what he wanted to do.
It's like he wants to do.
He killed the people.
Right.
But this is what he, manifested in his mind as the end results from killing those people.
That's right. Right. He feels it's the confidence that he wants. It's a confidence that he wants. Todd Fair sends a super chat, says cream and coffee. No. I say coffee. No.
Hey, Oliver Mercer. Hey, Dave and Tony. Serious question. Have you ever known anyone with a disorder and people bullying them? Have you both had to speak up for anyone? Oh, yeah. One of my close friends growing up in Connecticut, he wasn't the stereotypical kid that you would see as someone with Down syndrome, but he had Down syndrome.
Can I interrupt you for just a sec, dude? Sorry. I'll let you finish. The clock on the wall here is 11:11 again. And we'll see it. You'll see it. You saw it a moment ago, but right behind him there, he's going to smash it off the wall. And it's just great. See, 11:11. There it is.
Oh, yeah.
11:11 again.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. It tells you where he is still. Where the story is coming from. And then there he goes. He's punching it. 11:11. Boom, boom. Yeah, great stuff. Sorry, man. Continue.
No. You're good. No, there's just a kid at mine. It's the irony as we're watching The Joker is this kid was a friend of mine, a very close friend of mine, and this dude, whenever we would hang out, like he would come over, because I knew him from the time I was 11 years old, and we'd have like sleepovers on Friday nights with me and my friends. He'd always come over. He would always bring Tim Burton's Batman, and we'd always end up watching Tim Burton's Batman with him. But yeah, me and my boys had to stick up for him one time because when we weren't around, he would always meet with us to play. We played basketball religiously as kids, like literally from the time I was 10 till I graduated high school. I played so much street ball every day. But there was a time when me and my friends weren't around. We went bike riding somewhere and he went to the park without us. We would typically take him to the park and we'd let him play. And me and him would play opposite of each other. And trust me, we never took it easy on him. We treated him just like, he was one of us, no different. And we never made him feel like he was any different from us. And these kids who they didn't hang out at our park, which was in the center of our neighborhood that often, ended up like they were teasing him one afternoon. Well, we found out about it and we tracked down these kids.
Yeah, I bet.
Trust me, we handled business without like talking about, preaching violence. Believe me, it got pretty violent in what we did to him. And so that was like the one time that I had to, and his name was Tommy. So he was a good kid. One of the first, when I moved to this town from another town, we moved there when I was, like I said, when I was about 10, he was one of the first kids I met and became friends with on the school bus. And he was just a really nice kid. And I never saw, like any kid different. Like I always treated everyone the same. And even to this day, if I ever saw anyone being treated unfairly, I would stand up for that person. I think anybody would. I think you would too.
Of course, 100%. Absolutely. Yep, absolutely. The one thing that I wish, and again, I say this because remember, you can't think of this as the Joker and the story that and that where it comes from. I still wish, and I understand why they didn't, and I still believe that you can come to the same conclusion even if you made this choice, although I do understand why they didn't. I think there's two reasons why they didn't go with it. I would have stuck with Thomas Wayne being the father. And I think
that's a gamble because if you do a sequel and you are saying this is the Joker, now you're revamping the whole Batman universe.
Yeah, because but that's okay because this movie in of itself is so different. I would do it because of the symbolism of what it means.
I'm still trying to find a clock in this scene
because of the Oh, right, yeah.
I'm just making sure I don't miss a clock
because of the symbolism in the scene. I think it would have been ballsy. I think it would have definitely pissed off the hardcore sweaty nerds, but that's because we're not living in that world. And I think the symbolism around it because he's essentially, there's a lot of symbolism around, Batman being the light and the good, and Joker being the darkness and evil and the devil, and this and being the it actually has more of a relatable subconscious effect on people. And I don't mean relatable in the sense that we've been through those things ourselves. I just mean that there's in terms of mythology and history, and there's a real deep-seated symbolism in that. And I would have gone with it. I think it would have been very powerful. And just like, my God, my father has lied. You're lying to me. You are my father. You're lying to me. You know what I mean? And he wants nothing to do with them. And I would have gone with it, and I understand there are people. That's not how that's not how is irrelevant.
You got a large fan base out there. That's what I was going to say. That
sure, that's not how. But this whole thing is not how.
Sure.
Where are all the people now
and
going?
Again, you
the
can get
Joker's
away with
name
it for
isn't
one
Arthur
film.
Fleck, right?
No,
well, sure.
I agree. You can definitely get away with it for one film, but the more you go into it,
you're building you're building a different universe. You're building an alternate reality, and from what you know, and I think the different layers of symbolism that brings, and where you can go psychologically with that, really deeper. It's the corruption and the lying, and it's lie. But then you always dangle the carrot. Is he the dad or is he not? I actually, from this movie, you can still make him the father. You could still do it. You could, even though it was there are the reports he's supposedly adopted.
Well, no,
there's
Wayne's dead.
Adoption thing.
Saying, yeah.
Like there's the adoption thing. There's no. Your mother was, crazy and blah blah blah. Yeah, for sure. I think they didn't pull the trigger because they didn't want to piss off the sweaty nerds, but there was me in the audience going, come on, just do it. Make it something like, if you're going to go this far, go all the way. Like, I'm just thinking like that would be really interesting to me, really intriguing, and people get the fuck over it eventually. Winning solves everything. If the movie's really good, if the story is fantastic, people are going to go, okay. You know what I mean? Because there were some people that were like, what is this? What is this? It's a serious, what the fuck? What? Arthur Fleck? What? And look now.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Robert Kitzmiller says in a super chat, says, Tony, have you ever thought of writing a screenplay? Dave, does your feature length have any ambiguous ending? My feature, the one that
It's Me, Billy.
No, I think he's talking about the Port Robinson Road, the feature length script that I'm in development on. Does it have an ambiguous ending? Yes and no.
No. Just simply, I could do an outline to a movie, but you got to go with your strengths. My strengths is behind the camera. The writing's for the writers.
Yep, absolutely. The Filmatic sends in a super chat, says, someone, why you love horror movies? Me, you wouldn't get it. Joker reference. Also, do you guys notice the numbers in the background? The numbers in the background is counting down to the end of the film. The numbers in the background.
Can you give me a reference?
Yeah, give an example, Filmatic. I see a lot of 9s. I see a lot of 6s. But you can definitely, that would be interesting to see, because I have some thoughts on that if that is true. Thoughts on that.
That would be interesting. True. Yeah. I'm trying to find a number right now.
Bad Done Well says, kind of can't stand Dave, though, to be honest. Good. I can't stand you either. So the feeling is mutual.
Come on.
But you watch.
We're all supposed to love each other.
You watch. You can't stand me, but you watch me. So in the end, I win.
There you go.
Don't watch me. Don't watch me. What are you doing, Bad Done?
William Goldschmidt, Tony, do you have a record cleaner kit for my LPs? No, I take it to the vinyl shop up in Athens, Georgia, and those guys professionally clean it for me whenever a record needs a really good cleaning. So, but I have a dust off brush.
Cool. And let me just say that if Bad Done continues the trend of love Tony, hate Dave, he or she, because you never know, could be a girl, even though girls don't usually do this petty shit. It's usually guys. If that trend continues, right. But if that trend continues, then that is the same trend that I've seen before from somebody else who was blocked. So if you continue that trend, I'll just block you again. I mean, I understand that you like to create different accounts. Oh yeah, thumbs down. Good, thumbs down. Actually, you know what? Let me just go in there right now and just block the person, because that's just nonsense. Goodbye, as they said way back in the day. Anyway, on with the program.
I forgot who sings this song that was just playing in the background.
Oh, it's my Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, it's that guy.
It's Jimmy Durant, I think, is his name.
Thank you. Yeah, Frosty the Snowman.
Frosty the Snowman.
Good old Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's life.
Yeah. Oh, Frank says, I'll watch it. I appreciate that, Frank. I just blocked him anyway, because I know who it is already. It's not even somebody that just maybe said something wrong or didn't say it the right way. It's I forget what his name was. It may not be Devontae. It may be somebody else, but yeah, totally. So I'm just like, fuck off, get out of here. And you're gone.
But no, like, in all seriousness, when we sit here and we watch this movie and the appreciation for the acting, I mean, what I said early on, like, I really mean that. I've seen Birds of Prey, so it's like I put my money where my mouth is. I have sat down, I gave it my money, and I watched the movie. Okay, no, it's not a woke film in the sense of the traditional wokeness, but it's definitely Spice Girls meets fucking The Expendables. All right. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I think where Margot Robbie missed out on is that this was an opportunity, this movie, to revamp how to do DC type movies. This has resonated and it hit home run with audience. There's no reason why she couldn't have revamped the Harley Quinn character, still done a standalone movie, brought that budget down a lot, made it more realistic and not so, yes, it was more violent than this movie, but it was the campy violence of like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. You know what I mean? It wasn't the violence in this movie that was disturbing. Had Margot Robbie went back to the drawing board and said, you know what, guys? Yeah, we've already invested $90 million into this. I need to dial this back some, bring the tone down a bit, make it more in the tone of the Joker. That movie, her Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn. And if anyone knows Birds of Prey, Birds of Prey is nothing like this movie. It's really a fucking Harley Quinn movie. Yeah. The movie would have been fine. It would have been successful. And I think that's what I was beginning to say earlier with Matt Reeves and what he's taking to his approach to the Batman. I won't be shocked if the tone of the Batman is the same as this, but don't get it twisted. They're not going to merge these two universes together at all.
Correct.
You're going to get a Joker, but it's going to be a different Joker in Robert's universe.
Right. I thought, and you were, I think we were kind of on the same page this time last year when this movie was in post-production and we were talking about this. We were sort of kind of like, there might be that opportunity there depending on what they're going to do. But now that I've seen Joker and we know more about what's going on, it's not happening.
The idea would be cool, but no.
Yeah, I'm at 49 minutes and 25 seconds into the movie, 49:25, 49:28, 29:30. We're at the scene here where
we're at the same number count.
Yeah, Arthur Fleck has just found out that he is supposedly adopted. I say supposedly because I'm leaving a little room for me and my hope that maybe they'd not do that.
The Filmatic came with his countdown. That's okay. I'm gonna start paying attention to this shit.
Okay. Oh, okay. For example, the number 9 was shown in the subway scene. Yes. Then scenes later, it will show 8, and that's Sophie's room. And then when he finds out his past, you will see 7 in the background. Okay. Very cool. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Now, when you think of that, now let's think of, again, there's many different things that could mean. It might not just be that, they're just, look, that's cool, counting down to the end of the movie. It probably has, if you were to ask the writers, it probably has something to do with the psychological aspect of being in Arthur's head. He's counting himself down, right? A lot of time... Right, but a lot of times there's hypnosis is used in certain patients, meditation. He might even be in his own mind because we're watching the sequence of events play out. He might be in his own mind counting down. We're seeing the visual representation of that.
Hypnotized.
Right. Well, not necessarily hypnotized in the science, fictiony way, but
well,
just
sort
of
that makes sense at the ending of the film when he comes out of it, and she's writing down everything. Maybe she's getting him back into the real world at that point, and he's out of his hypnosis.
Yeah,
I
get what you're saying. I don't think she's a hypnotherapist, though. I see her as more of just kind of a social worker or therapist. But I think it's more of what it symbolizes, that he's counting down in his own mind. It's structured that way, and it helps him.
I didn't like. I don't think they needed him and Bruce to meet. I really don't. I just didn't need it. You know what I mean? It was the one scene that it didn't really hold any weight. Like I just felt like the interaction with Thomas Wayne in the bathroom, that's totally cool. But this with Bruce, I didn't need it, because now this brings me to Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to separate it.
I understand. But look at this though. Bruce is wearing a brown jacket with a white sort of shirt.
Oh,
Arthur is also wearing. Yeah. It's the antithesis, right? One is more polished. It's right. One's more polished. Right, which is why I think now you can look at it literally and symbolically, but it's one is high class, one is low class, one's older, one's younger, one's more pure and fresh and has full of life ahead of them. One is down and dirtier and poorer and doesn't have as long life ahead.
It also could be a reflection that they're looking at each other, that their paths are now forever connected.
Could be that as well. That's right. There's a lot of. This scene didn't bother me as much. I don't necessarily think a kid would have stood there and allowed a stranger to put his thumbs in his mouth and do a little of a smile.
That's what I'm saying.
That seems a little bit, but I get the symbolism of it. And, you could have, you didn't have to do it, but it's cool to see. It's foreshadowing the eventual relationship that the two would have. Yep. That's all it is. It's not setting up any future films necessarily, although you could go there, but certainly symbolically it's showing the audience, it's foreshadowing their eventual, life and their arch nemesis, I guess, of both. And, let's not forget that, the best bad guys in the world don't see themselves as bad guys.
It's true.
Super chat comes in from Millie Z Movies. Thank you, buddy. Says, hey guys, I've been watching for a long time now and I love your content. People are talking Joker too, but I'd love a Catwoman done in the same style. Catwoman in the same style.
The thing with Catwoman is you could do it. It's a gamble because, again, Catwoman is not one of the top tier villains.
Right.
You got to look at a lot of things when it comes to making a comic book film. Again, what Margot Robbie didn't do in her research, how much does Harley Quinn sell on a yearly basis for standalone series? I mean, she has them. I just finished the Harleen series, which was good, but I don't have a lot of standalone Harley series. I have Harley with the Joker, you know what I mean? And I have Catwoman, who's, part of a bigger series with Batman, Joker, and whatnot. But I didn't really get into buying Catwoman series. I'm not saying there isn't a fan base out there for it, but that does play a factor in when you're calculating, do we do a standalone film, with this person without Batman? I think Catwoman would have the same issue that Harley Quinn is going to have. You can't do Catwoman without Batman, just like you can't do Harley Quinn without the Joker. You really can't. You can do Joker without Batman, which we're getting, with this film.
And you can do Batman without the Joker.
And you can do Batman without the Joker, but Catwoman is just not one of those. She's not a starting five main player.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I have no interest. Personally, I have no interest in seeing Catwoman. But I love this part of the score here.
Fuck yeah.
Bum 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 bum. I love that.
Which I just watched. I actually watched over the
score
weekend.
Is fucking
brilliant.
Batman
and Batman Returns over the weekend.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Nice.
We're feeling nostalgia. I knew we were doing it on Monday. I was like,
yeah.
So I watched those two over the weekend. Still holds up. Still fucking holds up.
Does it really? Yeah. I haven't seen those movies in years.
And not only that, the 89 Batmobile, which essentially is also Batman Returns, it's the same Batmobile pretty much.
Right.
But that 89 Batmobile is still the best. man, when you see that thing driving down the street in the dark, it just looks fucking cool in silhouette. It just really does.
Yeah, it does.
Favorite Batman movie, The Shape? 89 Batman. For me, it is. It's
mine. I think mine actually might be Batman Begins. Funny enough.
Oh, interesting. Okay,
yeah.
I wouldn't expect that from you.
Yeah,
I thought you would have done the same as me with Tim Burton's 89 Batman.
Yeah, I gotta see. To be fair, I haven't watched it in years.
Yeah.
So I gotta watch it again.
That Elfman score at the end, the Danny Elfman score.
Oh, it's fantastic.
So fucking to me, I know Superman, Christopher Reeve, flying, John Williams score is great. I get it, but I'm sorry, like it doesn't. That doesn't hit me like Michael Keaton standing there with the bat symbol and the Elfman music fucking playing is just so fucking. It gets me all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely good stuff. Mr. Fleck, sorry to bother you. I'm a fat cop, and I just want to ask you a couple of questions. That's what he says. Can you imagine? I'm a fat cop. But he says it seriously, and the movie just continues on as if nothing happened. I'm a fat cop, and I just have something I want to tell you.
But I like Nolan's Batmans too. I'm not a fan. I'm a fan of Batman Returns, the two with Keaton. I don't care for the two that came after. I don't have them. I don't care for them. But I like Nolan's trilogy. I do think the last one, Rises, was a little weaker than his first two, like Batman Begins and Dark Knight.
Yeah.
But his trilogy was good. I have no complaints.
Yep.
We've been fortunate, as you know, it's the one thing with horror fans. I think we all have a commonality and don't realize it. And I think I know why is most of us are not comic book guys, but most of us tend to lean towards the Batman universe because I think of the dark tone and
it's the darkness of it, right?
You know what I mean?
Right.
And because we're horror fans, we relate to that a little bit more so than the rest of the comic shit that's out there.
Right.
I think that's why horror fans really loved this version of the Joker. You know?
Well, sure. Like I said, it's
that same tone. You know,
it's a psychological thriller. That's what this movie is. This movie is a and when I say thriller, I don't mean it's like, you know, full of tons of thrills, but I just mean that's what it is. It's a psychological horror film. I mean, this would be beside Jacob's Ladder. It would be beside The Shining. It would be beside Prisoners.
Have you ever done that? Walked into an exit door?
1,000 times. 1,000 times. But that's it. I mean, like remove Bruce. Like it's not a comic book movie, man. I mean, again, like I understand that.
Traditional sense, yes.
It is because you're using a comic book character, but it would be like putting, you know, Fred Krueger in a completely. It's not an Elm Street film. You know, suddenly it's this completely different. You know, it's a very it's a movie that could have been told with anybody. Not even a known character, but they used the Joker, the archetype of the trickster and the Joker, and of course you can. I mean, it's rich, full of great
I think
mythology.
This really happened. I don't think this was not a manifestation in his head. I think this legit happened. I think this was another triggering point for him to just
for sure, because it's solidifying that the illusion that he was under about how he sees him as this father figure because he doesn't have a father in his life is destroyed right here.
Yeah, absolutely destroyed.
David Lee Barron sends in a super chat, says, did you know Danny Elfman did the Spider-Man theme too? Did you like the Spider-Man theme? I did know that. And I thought it was pretty good.
I like the Batman soundtrack better, but yeah, you know, I know he did the Spider-Man theme.
Yes. You should enjoy it.
The Shape. I really hope Batman 2021 has the same kind of tone and darkness like this one. I think it will. From that first costume or Batsuit reveal, I think that's exactly what we're going to get. It's going to be a different version of Batman with some callbacks from the comics.
Yeah, I think it'll definitely be dark. I don't know if it'll be this dark because I don't think it's necessarily a character study into the psychological
dark detective type movie.
But right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. You can say that again, pal.
Yep. You ever see when Joaquin would be giving his speeches, when Robert was there at the awards, they'd always cut to him. He always had this very weird look on his face. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wonder if the two got along.
Robert De Niro?
Yeah.
He always looks like that. When he's shot in the head at the end of this movie, look at him when he's shot in the head. He's there like this. He's got the De Niro look on his face. He looks like this. He's got the De Niro look on his face after he's shot in the head. It's funny.
Michael Anderson, Tony, I thought you were new. I am. I'm from Connecticut. Surprised to see. Well, actually, believe it or not, a lot of people who live in Connecticut, the funny thing about the state of Connecticut is you have a lot of Patriot fans who are Yankee fans. You have a lot of Red Sox fans who are Giant fans. Our state is a weird mix. But yeah, no, I grew up. My father was a Yankee fan and grew up, going to Yankee games with my dad. Great memories watching Donnie Baseball, Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly.
Good old Donnie Baseball. But yeah, that's New England's an interesting state, especially when you get to Connecticut and how people root for their teams.
Right. And of course, at the beginning of the movie, when the news, reporter is talking about how the movie has a rat problem, right? Well, that's double meaning right there. They literally do have a rat problem, but the symbolism but the city has a rat problem in terms of corruption and politicians, and there are rats, so to speak, running the city, right?
Right.
So that's a great bit of symbolism there as well. I like that
also
kind of
with
thing.
Symbolism of modern politics as well too.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is politics hasn't changed. Go watch a news broadcast from 1972 and you'll hear them talking about the same fucking shit they talk about today.
I just said the same shit to a friend of mine and I have to send this link. There was this episode of All in the Family. It's from the 70s, early 70s, like in the first season. And it's Archie and Meathead having this conversation. And if you didn't know it was them, you would think this is the shit going on right now. And this is 1971. And we're in 2020. Nothing's fucking changed.
Nope, that's it.
Dude, that's crazy you said that because I literally just sent this to a buddy of mine.
Yep. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
See, this was I do like this scene when he sneaks into the theater to confront Thomas Wayne. I did like that. Thanks, Devolve Taint, the hoodie. Yes. I didn't have a Joker hoodie. It's the closest thing to a clown. So,
This is actually really funny. This bit here with Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking hilarious.
Iconic bit with Charlie Chaplin.
It's fucking hilarious. Like, look how close he gets to the end. It doesn't go.
You ever see Chaplin with De Niro? I'm not De Niro, Downey Jr. The movie Chaplin.
No.
It's really good.
No, I don't think I did.
Downey Jr. movies, Chaplin.
Yeah. I don't think I did.
Yeah, that would be one you and your girl would like. You and your girl would like that. Yeah, she would like Chaplin. It's a really good movie.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Nails it.
I'll definitely check it out. I don't think I've seen that movie. No, I know I haven't seen it. And again, I mean, I understand why they did, and again, it absolutely coincides with Arthur's continual downfall into despair and the isolation that his character feels. That he discovers that he was adopted. He discovers that no, Thomas Wayne actually isn't his father. He doesn't know who his parents are. He's a nobody essentially. And I get that. That's that. Like I understand that. I do believe that was a factor in them not making Thomas Wayne Arthur Fleck's real biological father. I also believe that they didn't pull the trigger because it would piss off a lot of sweaty fanboy nerds.
Yeah.
And I say that with affection because I'm a sweaty fanboy nerd too, just maybe over, different things. And I understand that, but there's just part of me that thinks you still could have come to the same conclusion if you're building this world anyway that is very different than what we've seen before. I think it would have been an interesting. Now he denies it. He continues to deny it. Thomas Wayne denies the hole in the fucking. He's not. Are you kidding me? This is his son. It's going to ruin his political career. He can't have this guy as his son. I mean, look at him. He's disheveled. He's just. He's Penny's kid, or whatever the case is. I just think it would have added an extra bit of motivation for Arthur Fleck. Even that real strong motivation. Because he loathes his father. He hates his father.
I will tell you this. If it was his father, they would need someone a little bit older, because actually these two look like they're close in age, not too far apart in age. Honestly, they don't. They really don't. When you look at Joaquin's face with the wrinkles on his face and Thomas Wayne's, they look very close in age.
I would say that he looks like he's probably, I would say that Thomas Wayne looks like a guy who's in his late 50s, early 60s. That's what he looks like to me. Late 50s, let's say. But you can justify the way that Arthur looks. I mean, obviously Joaquin is really in his 40s.
Right,
but
45.
you could say that Arthur here, you could in the movie realm say that he's 35, 20? 36. You could say that because of the life he's lived. He looks disheveled because of the abuse he's taken, the alcohol. Who knows what sort of abuse we saw before? You know, I mean, he's been living his life. He's been who knows, right? So maybe in reality he's 35 here, and Thomas Wayne's 58 or something. I mean, who knows at the end of the day? But I just think it would have been a very interesting angle.
A scene like that when Thomas Wayne hits him, there's a part of me that wants to see Batman hit him and him just continue to laugh. Like, I've never seen that with a Joker Batman confrontation. That's why the fan in me wants to see his version of Joker go up against Batman, but I get why not to do it. Like I understand why not to, but just even that, I love this. There's a meme out there where it's like, you ever have one of those days? It's just they're showing this.
Dude, I spent last night in my fridge. I know
about these days. And you just want to shove yourself away from the
I spent last night in my fridge. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Last night I slept beside the bacon. It was good.
And that's like that's what the meaning of this scene is. Like, you ever have one of those days where you're just like, fuck the world. Sure. I'm going into my refrigerator and piss off everybody.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. And it's what, yeah, it is. And this phone call not this one, but, this one here. Some people think that this was in his head because it's a little convenient that, the show calls. And again, I mean, it's both. It's not a matter of what is in his head. It's both. There are things that are in his head and there are things that are not in his head. It's not either or, it's both. And the question is deciphering, because he's a schizophrenic, delusional, not necessarily schizophrenic, but there's probably schizophrenic tendencies. And he's certainly delusional, and he creates grandiose, fantastical things in his mind to make to protect himself, to make him feel worthy, to make him feel, like he matters. And he creates a fantasy life for himself that it's entirely possible that part of this is real, that maybe he was invited on the show. Maybe he did go on, but maybe something else. He shot somebody, but maybe it wasn't De Niro. Maybe he shot him. Maybe it wasn't in the head, right? Maybe he did shoot him, but it was in the shoulder and De Niro actually survived, but that's what he wanted to do, was in his head. I'm not saying that that's true. I'm not saying it's true at all. There's no evidence to suggest it's not true. I'm just saying that those are the types of things you got to think about, that what is,
I love the framing on that.
What's fantastical and what isn't, because there's no doubt in my mind that much of this, as Tony said, absolutely did happen, 100%. And there's a lot of it that he's creating in his own mind. I mean, who knows? Maybe Penny and Thomas Wayne did get it on years ago, and he had an affair with her and she was fucked up. And because he's such a powerful guy, he's able to make her look like he took advantage of her IQ and her intellect and was able to paint her as just a nut job, and was able to hide everything because of his power, because of who he was. And he created,
I will say this.
Who knows? Who fucking knows?
This is as far as, again, set design and just the incredible job that this crew, Todd Phillips and everyone did. This is the best Arkham I have ever seen. This is the most realistic looking mental hospital. Yes. What Arkham Asylum really is. This is the best portrayal. Way better than what we got in Nolan's. Way better. I'm sorry. Like, I know people are going to disagree with me. Sorry, but this is, I've been to these hospitals before, right, and this is what it looks like. Yeah, and I'm glad they took this more realistic approach, even to, like, look at the hallways. Everything just has that very mute color tone and the lights and everything. That is what a mental hospital looks like. And I'm glad they took that approach, and that was just, again, beautifully done by the crew of this film in doing that approach to Arkham, which I felt, in my opinion, is the best portrayal of Arkham. Yeah, well, again, I mean, everything in this movie obviously is grounded in reality, but in a reality's past, right? Obviously, 1981. But yeah, there's, I mean, you're watching a serious movie. And I'm reading Arkham Asylum right now, which is a totally different tone, with totally different artistry, beautiful art, but right. Just a different, more comic approach. Right. A realistic approach. I loved this approach with Arkham. Cool. Yeah, it's and again, I get it. This is the moment when he realizes that Thomas Wayne was telling the truth. Supposedly, and I say that because I still think there's wiggle room to play around in that space and make it interesting, but certainly I understand if they continue on a linear path with what they've presented here. It's fine. It still works. It's not that it doesn't work. I don't know. I'm a ballsy kind of risk taker kind of guy, and I think it might be kind of fun. Nothing wrong with going balls to the wall, right? But nonetheless, this is the moment where he finds out, at least for now, that Thomas Wayne was telling the truth, and that his mother did, that he was adopted, and obviously that would, if you take it at face value, that would continue his downward spiral into despair, and that's just another thing that happens to him that makes him realize he is even more alone than he thought he was. His mom isn't even his mother. And I think that's another reason why, like, I think a lot of us could relate to that, feeling alone in this, in the world. You know what I mean? Not feeling like you're totally connected with everyone. Like, you may have got some people here and there, but 7 on the wall. I just noticed that. The countdown. I think Jeff, the film addict, there, I think he's onto something. Sorry, I didn't mean to just get distracted and have an ADD moment. 7. There's 7. You're right. 7 again. I think he's right about this countdown thing, because I'm starting to catch up on or catch it now. It's not in every scene, but it's subtly showing up in places. Right. I think he's right. And I do know that later on when he gets on the subway, there is a 6 that appears. And obviously there were the 9s on the pillars in the subway station when he kills the 3 Wall Street guys. So I think he is on to something. And again, I think if you take it as a countdown, which obviously it looks like it could be, again, you got there's different layers there. Like, I don't think it's just a countdown for the hell of it, right? I mean, obviously, no. I think it means something psychologically to the character. The character is counting down or again, it could have several different meanings. It could have a meaning to it's counting down to the moment of the climax of the movie. Sure. But also I think it's more of a therapeutic thing is, it's like you take deep breaths, you count down, 10, 9, 8, 7, it's more mental in the realm of the psyche of this crazy person. Is how I think it could be interpreted, and really astute observation. That's good. Of course, if you look at the walls, obviously this is the same walls, in the room same room.
That's right. And personally, I think before, and I still feel this way, although, you know, I still think the ending, the movie could have ended with just him being adored by his fans, by his, not his fans, let's say, his admirers, while standing on top of the police car. I think you could have ended it at that climactic moment, at the height of the pinnacle height of this entire journey, and just cut to black and you hear his laugh and you roll the credits. However, I do understand, having watched it again, I do understand and picked up on more the need for that scene a bit afterwards to kind of bring it home and solidify, so you know that perhaps he's been there the entire time, and that's obviously important. But I thought this the first time I saw it, and I still think this. I don't necessarily think you need the extra with him running down the hall and running left and then right and then with the big and it's cool. I find the footprints very symbolic and very interesting, telling you sort of the different sort of realities. But I think it would have been maybe interesting if it had ended on him just saying you wouldn't understand it anyway. You know, and I think maybe if you end it there, that would have been fascinating.
I finally figured out what this music reminds me of. This music reminds
your
me
sex
of,
music? Well, it happens.
No, there's a bit of similarity to the epic sound here, how dark it got when Hayden turns to the dark side, or Anakin turns to the dark side and becomes Vader.
If you
listen to Williams' score that moment of, you know, when Anakin turns to the dark side, there's a similar tone with the horns that were just being played here that was done in Star Wars.
Okay, cool. I'll have to remember that next time I watch
sound.
it.
It's not the same melody.
Right.
There's just a similar feel.
There's like the essence there a bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
It's my Google talking. I activated it. And this is great, of course, because this is the moment we realize that everything that we saw with her never happened. Did the first time we see this character in the elevator, did that happen? Maybe. Yeah, that may have happened. But everything after that never happened. Because obviously she knows who he is.
When I first saw this,
she says
like,
Arthur, right?
Whoa. Like literally when she realizes, like, you realize, like, oh shit, he doesn't know her.
Right.
Like that was in the theater. I was like, damn, like this is this is filmmaking. This is like, you know, okay, there's having fun at the movies and seeing Sonic the Hedgehog, which I also saw that over the weekend. Fun fucking film.
Cool.
And then there's this, and you just experience a film. You know what I mean?
Right. Of course. Yep. Yeah, this here is, I mean, again, she knows who he is because they may cross paths in, you know, the elevator. Like, I think maybe that first interaction in the elevator did happen. And this is why he probably, well, there's a couple of different reasons why he gestures doing this here. But I think, but everything after that, he's in his head. He's very much in his head. That right there, that never happened, obviously, because we can see that now. Yeah. I mean, when you are this invested, when you are this psychologically invested into your grandiose, you know, delusions, it's, I mean, wow, what is real and what's not? That's what's so intense with this type of character. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, man. Yeah, Tony's bang on when he says about the camera work in this movie. I mean, the cinematography is just brilliant.
Just like it's
yeah.
This is just a movie that I would have loved to have been a part of. I don't care if I was a light, a grip, whatever.
Yeah,
fucking just
craft services.
And, well, more so on the production side.
I know, I get you. Yeah.
Not so much the guy directing or even the cinematographer, but just to be a part of it, to help create
the
shot for the cinematographer, you know?
Yep. I get you, man. Michael Meyer says Gotham in this film looks so claustrophobic and old. Yeah, it looks well, it is. I mean, it's a very old.
If you go back to the comics, man, that's Gotham is gothic. It's
Yeah,
Gotham,
and
you know,
and
it's run down.
reminiscent too of it. Like it's very like they take certain things that are actually real. Like back in the late 70s, early 80s, New York was a very sort of rundown,
yeah,
recession
absolutely. Yeah.
happening, dirty place. Back at a time when you can smoke in hospitals.
That is very true, man. That was back in the time when you could smoke anywhere. Man, I remember people smoking in the malls everywhere. Remember that?
Yeah.
You couldn't smoke in the stores, but you could smoke. They had like in the designated area, really not designated. They at every center part of the mall, there was just ashtrays, and people would be just sitting there freaking chilling out, smoking cigarettes.
Yep.
I'm glad they did that. They got rid of that. Look, no offense to anybody who's a smoker. I love my weed. You know that. So, but I just don't think you should be smoking it. And you should not be, bringing that onto other people who have to inhale that. You know what I mean? That's not fair.
Right. Yeah. And he starts killing his mom. Well, not his mom. This is what he means.
He goes all Michael Myers. Well,
I realize my life is a tragedy. I think it's a comedy. I mean, he's basically saying that it's so fucking ridiculous. You can't. It's so sad, so pathetic, so unbelievable. You can't help but laugh. I mean, there's more to it than that, but. Yeah, he's got a great look for it, especially when he's so skinny.
J.J. Abrams flair going on there.
J.J. Abrams!
Little J.J. Abrams sun flare.
Right.
J.J. flares, man. He loves his flares.
The Shape says, I remember when this movie was in pre-production. A lot of people were doubtful. No one's laughing now. Nope. No, I remember when it was announced that Phoenix was cast as Joker, I immediately thought it was brilliant.
Yep, we both did. We both were very much from day one.
Day one.
One thing about me and Dave, we have been consistent that this was the best move that they could have ever made because I knew this is what he was going to do.
Yes, exactly. Ethan.
And this is the childlike mind that Arthur goes into.
Right.
How many of us have dressed up as kids and played pretend, whatever, Right. This is such the childlike mind of the Joker. Again, another level of this character, pretending he's in front of the audience in his room. How many of us have done that? We all did that as kids.
Of course.
You're pretending to have the interview and stuff like that. Dude, how many times have you given a thank you speech for winning an award for voice acting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Yeah, I get it. Yep. And his intention, you see, I believe his intention was to kill himself on the show. Let's say that part of the movie, and there's no reason to think that it's not.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's no reason to think that it's not, okay? I always throw those things out there because I always think there's little bits of room for interpretation, but there's no reason to think that him going on the show and having it play out exactly the way it play out was not exactly the way it happened. But I do believe his intention was to go on that show and kill himself. Yeah. And then of course there's that moment where he's reading in his book when he's on the show and then suddenly things change. You could, and it's what's written there, which is very symbolic, and that is what changes. But as I was saying to my girlfriend last night, I was saying you could almost, going back to my idea that I know, people, what the fuck? The idea of Thomas Wayne actually being his father, even though he denies it in this movie. And maybe, but it's like, what? Whatever. You could even still play that angle. And when he's in the seat, when he opens his book, instead of it's something he reads, he sees he sees that ripped out newspaper thing that he tore off on the subway when he was going. He sees that photo of Thomas Wayne and his wife. And it's just, and he sees that, and it's almost that reminder that, hang on a sec here, I'm fuck this. No, I'm not, because it's triggering for him. It becomes almost personal, that like it's still conveying the same sort of message, and you're ending at the same result, but it's about sort of that or whatever. Anyway, it's I still think you could have done it, but I understand why they didn't. But it doesn't ruin the movie or anything. It doesn't. It's just, hey, you want apples or do you want oranges, right?
Sinatra.
It's great. It's great. I dance in my tighty whities like that all the time.
I'm
all
Joey
about tidy
Tribbiani
whities
style, commando. Isn't that what he does in Friends? I go commando, something like that. This is
Kramer from Seinfeld.
No, not Kramer. Joey.
No, I know.
Tribbiani, from Friends.
But there's
I think that was his thing.
Yeah.
Oh, because that was the episode when he puts on all of Chandler's clothes and he's like sweating in it, and he's like, "I'm going commando."
I like the scene in Seinfeld when Jerry's like, "But if you're not, then you're not." And Kramer's like, "I'm out there, Jerry, and I'm loving every minute of it."
Colin Altman, hey Dave and Tony, if you could make a Joker 2, what would you do? Ooh, well, we kind of talked about it throughout the stream tonight, but I'll take it from the point of view so that Dave and I don't give the same answer. I'll take it from the point of view of if we went the Batman route. And I said this earlier that if you were going to bring Batman into the equation, the story arc that I would like to see with this version of the Joker is Death in the Family, which is one of the most iconic Batman series where Robin is killed by the Joker, the Jason Todd Robin.
Right.
One of my favorite Robins, because he was very much in line like Bruce Wayne with a darker personality, darker edge to him. He wasn't like Dick Grayson and Tim Drake, who preceded Jason Todd. Those two were more in the detective style, like Robin, whereas Jason Todd was more dark. So that would be my approach. And again, I'm saying this, not that I want them to do the Batman approach. I just don't want to give you the same answer that I know Dave's going to give you. So that would be my approach with it. Dave, what would you do?
Well, if I had to do a sequel, I would continue the story, and I don't know how yet, because I think most of what we can talk about Arthur is sort of here, but I would want to figure out, is there more to tell about this man and this story? Figure out sort of where we are, where we're going to pick up. And I would probably pick up, I mean, if all things said and done, I would probably go that route, and I would pick up maybe a few years later, 3 or 4 years later, and he's still in Arkham Asylum. He's locked up, and I would want to discover through the writing what was in his head and what was not in his head. So we discover sort of what was in his head and what was not in his head through that process. Batman is still, a kid.
I mean,
no, he's not in the equation. I mean, you may get a sense of him again.
Sure,
I mean, you may
the
see
end or something.
Yeah, or you may see him when Thomas Wayne is out with his family or something. Maybe he's there, right? You know what I mean? But it's more about the continual evolution and darkness and fall. Oh, this is great. Yeah, let me stop here for a second. This is great.
This is what I mean. Could you imagine if he's beating on Robin like this? Like, that's
for sure.
I want to see.
But this is that's like a crime of passion almost. Yes. And I don't mean like he was in love with this man. I mean that this man, that's why I think there's something else there. Yeah. There's some sort of abuse there. This guy, he was getting his revenge, not just on telling everybody he had a gun. There's other shit. Hey Arthur, you can pay me back, with some other time. You're my boy. Like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like there's something else there. There's something else there. And so yeah, that's a crime of passion for sure. And I love how he scares him and then he's got to open the door for him and shit.
Well, and it's true Joker, because people say Joker doesn't show. No, Joker does show mercy. You just got to read your comics and know that there are times that Joker does show mercy on people that he feels that he can connect with.
Right, exactly.
And I think he felt like he could connect with this person, and that's why he didn't kill him. And the Joker, the real Joker from the comics, does that. He doesn't kill everyone.
Right.
That's why he's got his squad fam with Harley Quinn and all them boys.
Right. But I would say that, yeah, I would pick up continuing to analyze and go deeper into the fall of this character and the rise of Joker. and in terms of where do we go from there? You know what I mean? It's all about Joker. Batman is there in terms of Bruce Wayne. He's there. I mean, you know, we might see him again in a small little thing,
a metaphor or something
right?
Like that.
Exactly. But this is the story before Batman ever existed, and this is the story of how one of the greatest villains and gangster, you know, villains for all intents and purposes started to run and rule Gotham City.
I got an idea that I'm going to piggyback off of yours because I like it, but I got to enjoy
Here's
this
Gary
scene
Glitter.
for a moment. This is one of my favorite cinematic moments of 2019. When this shit kicked on and he turns around in the elevator, our theater erupted. Like everybody got out of their seats cheering like you were at a baseball game.
Nice.
It was so fucking cool.
Nice. And this, of course, again, is another reason why I think that there could be something there. This is Rock and Roll Part 2 by Gary Glitter. Great song, great sports song. Love it. It's awesome. But Gary Glitter, unfortunately, was convicted of child pornography back in the 90s, I believe.
90s, yep.
And to choose this song right after ultimately he murdered that guy who I think there might be, and I thought there might be something there before I even heard this song.
Yeah,
it just feels a little too on the, not too on the nose. I mean, it's too on the nose for it not to be symbolic.
I got you. Yep.
Yeah. But great song nonetheless, and he's free. And of course, we see the law
cops in the background, like what? The
right,
fuck?
and they're at the top looking down on him. You know, the law, the authority is above him.
You know, at first, for a split second, I thought this scene was shot in Georgetown at the Exorcist.
Oh, at the Exorcist
for a
steps.
split second, when I saw it in the first time in theater, I was like, "Is that?" And then I realized, no, it's not Georgetown.
Right.
But for a split second, it looked like it.
Right. Hmm.
8-bit Pixel Boy. Yes, I've seen Birds of Prey. I said it earlier. It's the Spice Girls meets the Expendables. That's what I thought of it.
Mm. Yeah, and this is where I think we see the number 6 in a moment.
Very, very shortly. Like somewhere
around here. Maybe
it stands out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, it's on the pillar again, or maybe it's afterwards. Maybe we missed it. Oh no, there you go, 6 right there.
6, yes.
Yeah, 6. Yeah. Fascinating. Very cool stuff. Yeah, I noticed that for sure.
Very well,
I noticed
could be
6
a
for
countdown.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, if we get to the end and we see 1, then we know it's a countdown.
Oh, 100%. You see, and those are the things that, you know, when you know what to look for and you know, I mean, obviously you have to know a little bit about symbolism and mythology and, you know, certain the ways to get into the psyche of viewers. But when you watch movies like this, you know, like The Shining or this film or even Halloween, there's a few. Halloween's not as deep as this movie, obviously, but it just makes the viewing experience richer and
shit I'm
more
reading
interesting
now, or hearing, not reading, but hearing.
This is great
about how this new Halloween could be the darkest one yet.
I heard.
As far as tone,
I think Blum. I think it's going to be the most violent. I think it's going to have the most kills. I think it's going to be the bloodiest, the goriest we've ever seen.
Which honestly is not gore and blood doesn't make it scary.
No, not at all. In my
opinion,
but I definitely think that's
disturbing. Like A Clockwork Orange, disturbing. I wouldn't mind seeing that from a Michael
There's
Myers
another great
Halloween.
Psychological thriller.
But to just do all blood and gore, like, all right, so yeah. I don't know. I hope they don't go that road because that's going to really take me out of it. But I would have been standing over that cop like, you got knocked the fuck out. Joaquin walking like a pimp with that smoke.
Walking like a champ, man. Walking like a champ. Walk like a man. Talk like a man.
He probably smoked a lot because I know he's a smoker in real life, and to suppress your appetite, I have heard that smoking suppresses your appetite. I don't know how true that is, but you know, maybe he smoked a lot because he wanted to keep his appetite down to keep the weight off.
According to Todd Phillips, he had an apple.
Anyways,
according to Todd Phillips, he had an apple a day, and that was it.
Damn, and probably cigarettes, an apple
a couple of months. Yeah, probably. And of course, Murray's the one that gives him the name Joker.
Yeah,
because he calls him a Joker earlier in the film. What's with the face? Nick P. was here, says the story about Joker's past is creative. I never read the comics. Was there ever any situations that Batman and Joker were brothers? I never heard that before. I don't believe so.
Not brothers, but I think they're brothers by not in the sense of the meaning of brothers like blood brothers, but like a symbolism of they are the yin to each other's yang. You know,
right. Oh yeah, that definitely exists. I would have loved to have seen, because you can still have that, right? Because of the symbol, one comes from higher, riches, wealth, had everything that the other one never had.
One's evil, one's good.
One's evil, one's good, right? Light, dark, devil, God kind of thing. You know what I mean?
If
like
Batman standing in a mirror, his reflection's always going to be the Joker.
Right.
That's really the way it is for me. That's how I look at the two characters. And vice versa. Joker looks in the mirror, he's always going to see Batman.
Right.
Joker it is.
Joker it is. It's good,
Joker
kid.
it is.
It's good, kid. Let's do it.
In the Robert De Niro one-sided acting that I can only do. Joker it is. I thought he was going to go meet the Fockers for a moment. Be like, you want to go see my son-in-law, Fokker, Greg Fokker over here?
That's right. Of course, nowadays you can never get a gun
for a second
like
there. Oh, shit.
And this could only work in 1981 because nowadays there's no way you could get a gun in something like that.
No.
You got
not modern
metal detectors and everything for, I love when he comes out and he kisses the doctor. Woo. Great shot there. Blu-ray Addict says, what are your guys' thoughts on Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut? That's a question. I really like the movie, but that's a question for, I think, another time when we have more time to really
talk about that.
Deep into that.
Kubrick films are not a quick answer.
No, they're not.
Unfortunately.
Great question, though.
Great question.
Yeah. Jester Productions 2 says, who would win in a bloodbath, the Joker or Michael Myers? Neither. It would be Chris Farley in a bunny suit.
No, that would be Macaulay Culkin in a bunny suit.
Right. Macaulay Culkin in a bunny suit. Look at the way this stagehand guy is looking at him.
And
right? He's looking at him like,
stage monitor is not even, well, now she's paying it not even really paying attention to him.
Yeah. He's acting strange and weird. It's like, who the fuck is this guy?
And he's smoking.
Yep. Yeah, you could do that back in the day. Love the suit and everything. How it's almost too big for him. It's great. For anybody who's
who do you think played the best Joker? Honestly, I love all three. Well, I like Cesar Romero. I think that's right? I always say Ramona Romero. I always get his
Cesar
last
Romero.
name.
Yeah,
Romero. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with his. That's 1960s Batman. Gives to television. Jack is my childhood. I'm always gonna have a special fondness of Jack portrayal of the Joker. So it's never gonna go away. It's like Chris Reeves is Superman and Michael Keaton Batman. It's just that's mine and Dave's childhood.
Gotcha.
Heath didn't come around till I was an adult, but Heath was great in a different type of Joker. Same thing here with Joaquin. It's a different type of Joker.
That's right.
I'm not a fan of Too Legit to Quit, Thugonomics, Jared Leto Joker. I just not really a fan of it. It's nothing against him. He's a phenomenal actor. I just didn't like the direction they took and went with Joker. I don't need to see bling in my mouth and cheat Joker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's fair.
Fucking love that laugh. My favorite joke. Jack, the very first time Jack lets out a Joker laugh is really menacing and really good. But Joaquin's is just, it's creepy under your skin.
Well, it's creepy because he's not really laughing.
Right.
He's forcing himself to laugh because he thinks that's what he's supposed to do. It's not genuine. Now here's the moment where he begins to read. See, look at sense. See how sense is spelt there? Cents. Yep. So he's contemplating now. He's changing his mind. He's becoming triggered. I don't mean triggered in the sense that it's become known in pop culture. I mean now, like, actually triggered. This is the real type of trigger. And he's not liking this. I think you could have had a picture of Thomas Wayne in there too and had the same thing happen. Frank Riker says, how funny would it be if this was Letterman? Or Jay Leno.
Or Jay Leno.
How's it going now there?
Bobblehead Jay Leno.
For anybody who's ever been to a show, live show,
you've been one
like this,
right?
I've been. Yeah, I've been. I've been a couple times. It does. Yeah, it's exactly what it's like. It's exactly what it's like.
See, I don't happen.
Oh yeah, and I don't think he was going to do that.
No,
it's
not initially.
It's what he read.
The gun, and then something triggered to change his direction.
Right, exactly. Cut it, fucking cut it, holy shit.
I think because people were laughing at him, it might have triggered him to finally say, you know what? All right, well, here you are, motherfuckers. I'm about to show you some shit.
That's right. Super chat comes in from Maca525, says, Gotham TV show thoughts, and thanks for being on today. No problem. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I have never seen the Gotham TV show.
I only watched the very last scene and the kid turning into Batman. That was it. I know it's about... the story is centered around Commissioner. Well, he's not Commissioner Gordon, but Gordon.
Right.
He's pretty much the hero, and Bruce is Bruce. He's a kid. He's not, not even a teenager. He's a kid.
Yeah.
And, I know they brought in some of the other characters. It was kind of like Smallville. They took a lot of liberties to the Batman universe, but it's not really what was in canon. Bruce never met Selina, who is Catwoman, when they were young.
Sure.
Clark never met Lex when they were teens and whatnot. Yep. So it was. From my understanding, Gotham was a lot like that with Smallville, but I never got into it like I did Smallville, which is really weird because I like everything Batman, and I'm not a big Superman guy.
I love how he's so eccentric and so he's very feminine. He's got because he was raised by his mother. He lacked the masculine and there's, I don't want to go deep into it here, but there's proven scientific evidence of the trauma that can have on a young boy's life, not having a proper male role model in his life.
And I like this because he's true with what he's saying, because that's just how society is. If it was him lying on the street, you would just walk right over him and not care. But because 100%. It's these bankers, oh my gosh.
Right.
That is very true on how we treat. Look, it's very sad what happened to Kobe and his daughter. No question. But it happens on a yearly basis. People die in plane crashes, and helicopter crashes. We don't hear about it, but because Kobe's on there, it's elevated. And that's very true with what he's saying in there and how we treat the world, how the world treats people in how we treat each other. If it's a celebrity, we put them on this pedestal of like, oh my God, how could that be? But if it's him, it's like, whatever, one less scumbag.
Yeah. Yeah, you're bang on. I love this. I love the way he says this. Playing my video. Invited me on the show.
And he's shaking.
Oh, yeah.
He is shaking, and he's losing it.
Yep. You know the first thing about me, pal. That's a genuine laugh, but it's a nervous laugh. McRae. How about another joke, McRae? Now look at Robert De Niro. Look at look at his face. He's Robert De Niro. No, but he's like,
he's dead Robert De Niro.
He's dead Robert De Niro. That's right. I love it. That's a real laugh. That's a real laugh. That's not real. That's forcing himself to. Yeah, good stuff.
He's like, one more. Let me put it down.
Yeah. And lovely goes up to the camera and he's like, well, that's. Yeah, he's going to say, that's life, because that's what Murray says at the end of his show, or at the end of his show. Yeah, yeah, great. I mean, a powerful, very realistically done scene, and you know, would have been horrific to absolutely see live. Kill Gavin says, I love the way he's shaking with anger and he almost sounds like he's about to cry. Oh, absolutely. It's that emotion. It's that, because as you know, crying and laughing are very much connected. They're very similar emotions. Very similar emotions. The same, very similar. And that is, yeah, he's when he sits there and he goes like that, and that's a genuine laugh. It's a nervous laugh. It's an uncomfortable laugh.
And the symbolism of the song here, in a white room.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, now you're catching. Yeah, exactly. Tony got that one. Tony got that one for sure.
Some people just want to see the city burn.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, what's the line that
Tommy's wig? And there's, watch some of these, because when you get to the end there.
Shit, I'm trying to think of the line from
Look
Dark
at Ace
Knight
in the
Rises.
Hole. See, Ace in the Hole? Ace in the Hole. You can just say that, it's just the name of a club, Ace in the Hole, it's dirty. But Ace in the Hole is something you do when you play cards.
True.
And what do tricksters have, right? Cards, Joker.
Yeah, cards, right.
Joker, the Joker, Ace in the Hole. Absolutely intentional.
Some men just want to watch the world burn. Thank you, Josh. I couldn't think of the damn line that.
Some men just need Viagra. I mean, it's just,
It's true.
Boom. Right beside the deluxe Ace in the Hole. Look at the way she's positioned. That's funny. Great stuff, though. I mean, this is good stuff. And I think the Ballinger. Ballinger. That's something. I know that's something. Galford's dog says, this is how the Joker introduced himself to the world in comics, either on TV or radio in the 40s. Yes, he... Okay, that's out. Oh, that's...
I love this scene.
Yeah.
It's such a great scene.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great scene. And I love when he takes the blood and makes the smile.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Probably my favorite. Like, you could have, now again, having seen the movie again and looking at this too, Blowout, Zorro, the Gay Blade, I forget what there's these are 1981 movies, and the
I'm just glad they didn't go Tim Burton's route and had Joker kill Wayne.
Right.
And his parents, like, you know, because then you have no choice. You have to go Batman.
Right.
If this was if Joaquin had spotted Thomas Wayne out of the theater and decided to follow them down the alleyway and kill them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then you would have had no choice. You have to go Batman.
Right.
See, doing this, like you said, you still have that exit strategy where you don't necessarily need Batman, even though everything here is fucking Batman, you know, down to the fucking jewels getting ripped off her neck. But because it's not the Joker, you don't have to connect Batman into this right away. You still have that, you know, exit.
100%.
But if you had Joker, if it was Joaquin,
it's a good point.
You're tied. You have to go all in at that point.
It's a good point. I was going to say again that I when I first watched this movie in the theater, I wish they had ended it with him on the car, his hands in the air, his adoring fans, and just ending it. But having seen it the second time now, I realize that maybe that extra scene with him is needed because it bookends what I believe they're saying, that actually he's been in there the entire time. Yeah. And this story we're seeing has already happened. But what of it is grandiose delusions? We don't know. I'm not saying this is, I'm just saying there are parts of it obviously that are not real. And we see those. I believe there are probably more things that are also not real. But this is, certainly you know, like if I was to make a sequel, I would take what's happening to the city naturally and move on from that point. What kind of effect? He's clearly locked up. Well, what kind of residual effects has his events, you know, had an effect on the people of Gotham? What is Gotham like now that this has happened? What is the crime like? Thomas Wayne is dead, right? Bruce is an orphan, but it's more about like what is the effect, the crime lore and the crime rings and what has happened, and does he escape? Does he get out to take his rightful place with these people who have been waiting for him since he's been locked up? You sort of move in that direction, and it's all about sort of continuing that rise of this mythical sort of antichrist sort of type of character in the Joker.
Sure. They could have totally ended this here and I would have been totally fine with it.
Yeah, it's a very, because it is the pinnacle. That's it. Boom. Cut to, and you hear his laugh and then roll credits. And that would have been brilliant. However, again, having seen it, I understand why actually they probably did go back here. I think this is where he's been, and he's laughing because he's come to he's thinking about the end of the story in terms of what he's just told or what he's been thinking about in his head. And who knows what sort of shit he's been saying to this woman. What does that say on the side there? No. Damn it, I missed that.
You wouldn't get it.
Just thinking of a joke.
That's what the joke is of what he created. In my opinion, I think that's the joke. It's what he's created.
Right. Yeah. Oh, for sure. And somebody, so this rich kid, not that there's anything, but he's now an orphan like him.
Or if we're in the future, he's created Batman. There's a couple ways you can look at that as well, too. If we're that far in the future,
that's a good point, too.
Batman is now a part of Gotham, and you wouldn't have Batman if you didn't have him.
Yep, that's true, too. Yeah, you wouldn't get it. I actually wouldn't have had that, or I would have just kind of ended it there.
Frank? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would have ended it there. Just kind of cut to black on his face right there. You know, or he's saying that, you know, just kind of get us saying a little bit. Yeah, let him say it. Keep rolling. Yeah. Take a suck of the cigarette. One last one. And then just cut to black there. This here, of course, I don't think is necessary. Interesting interpretation with the footprints. Obviously, again, that's telling you that obviously he's not or you could take it as he just murdered the woman in the office and he's walking down the hall with bloody footprints because he just murdered her. And maybe that's true. And that's why there are, guards suddenly after him. I took it, though, it could also mean that it's the two realities. There's the world he lives in, and then there's the world he believes he lives in. And this might not even be happening. This might be happening in his fucking head right now. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows at that point?
Very possible.
Very possible. But does it need a sequel? No, it doesn't. I mean, but I'm curious to see what they're going to do. I mean, obviously, I don't think the intention was to ever do a sequel, but it made over $1 billion and became an absolute, and not only exactly, Tony, and not only did it make $1 billion, but obviously it was a great movie and was nominated for all sorts of Academy Awards and obviously won, Best Actor, Best Score, was nominated for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Original Screenplay, I believe. So, obviously, you got to think about it. What do we do? The question now is, and I have no doubt that this is probably the wall that they're up against. There's probably part of them that is kind of like, fuck. Do you know what I mean?
Like they didn't realize that this was going to be such a hit.
Right, because there's part of them that is probably like, we don't really want to make a sequel because it's so good as it is.
Right.
The ambiguity and certain, not everything, but certain things that are left open to interpretation, it's smarter that way. It's more fun. It's more mature. And now it's kind of like, oh, now, maybe the studio is kind of going, hey, nudge, nudge. You think maybe you want to, and Todd's talking
sure they're totally nudge.
For sure. But now it's kind of like, well, hang on a sec. What we set out to do, this movie has a very specific identity, a very specific formula and tone and ingredient to it. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, for those of you that weren't here, this ain't a comic book movie for all intents and purposes. This is a psychological thriller. This would be on the shelf next to The Shining, next to Jacob's Ladder, next to, Prisoners, A Clockwork Orange, next to the great psychological Taxi Driver. Yes, this is, and they're using the archetype of the Joker character to just tell this story. It's like putting the Joker in Taxi Driver. I mean, that's essentially what it is. And it's telling, and we know that the Joker is a perfect character for that because of the psychological delusions that he has, and he clearly suffers, from this type of thing. It's just using the archetype of that character. That's it. And obviously they said it in a world that would be familiar to that type of character. There's Gotham, there's Thomas Wayne, there's, Bruce Wayne. Okay, great. So we're kind of, but it's got a very specific, serious execution that we haven't seen before, and now I feel, and I have no doubt, that this is happening. And I don't want to speak for Tony, but I think he probably would agree that they're probably sitting there going, okay, wait a minute, like we don't want to ruin that. Right. Like, because if we continue, like, let's say we make another one, well, hang on a sec here. Well, because this is the kind of thing where it's like, well, what is this? Can this formula grow without ruining it, or without just becoming what we were actually trying to avoid by doing this movie in the first place? Right? They did this movie like this in this way in the first place, to be like this, to be different, to be out of the box, to show you something you've never thought of before. So now it's kind of like, what, the shelf life for that, if you continue to go on, is kind of interesting. I mean,
and can you get lightning in the bottle twice and do a second film with the Joker and no Batman? I don't know if you can catch that lightning in the bottle twice. One time, yes, like you said, the one and done. You're right. I think they backed themselves into a corner like, fuck, what do we do?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why if I don't want to see them go down the road with doing Batman, but if they do it, please take your time and think it through on what story of Batman in this world that you want to do. You want to keep the same tone. You can't do a Nolan type Batman Joker movie. You cannot do a Tim Burton Joker Batman type movie. You got to do something real. You've got to do something really dark. And that's why I keep going back to the story A Death in the Family, because it's a very fucking dark story, and it's menacing, and it's this type of Joker and what that Joker does to Robin in that story. It's never been told before. But I don't. It's tough because because I'm with you in the part that I don't want to see Batman just yet.
Right.
I just don't know if I can do another 2 hours with just the Joker and no Batman.
See, I sit there and I see. For me, I'm like, I'm on, like, I want to know, like, I would be okay with seeing a sequel that shows us more of the rise of this character. This character hasn't risen yet. By the time we always see Batman and Joker, at least, again, I'm not a sweaty comic book guy. They're at their peaks, right? Now, I know there's probably maybe comics and books and shit that I'm not aware of.
I got you.
I'm talking about the movies, right? Yeah, they're always, it's already happening. You know, Joker is already Joker, and he's probably been doing shit for, like, 15 years. I mean, it's already there. There's still room for another movie showing him becoming this villain. Because remember, somebody said, and I forget who it was now, but somebody said, and maybe a few people said this, to be fair, but I did hear that certain people believe that Batman couldn't exist in this world, in this Joker's world, because they don't believe that this Joker is cunning enough, smart enough, and to be Joker's Batman. And I disagree with it as well, because what's happening here is that it's the residual effects of Arthur realizing that he actually is more alone than he really. Look, is he Heath Ledger's Joker? No. Is he more of a simpleton? Yes. Does he have a high IQ? No. Is he? Yeah, of course. But there are certain things that happen to him. He's never going to be, here's a pencil. He's not that guy. He's not Heath Ledger. He's not that guy. But he's going to be, he could be wiser than he was, smarter than he was. He may always have a few yes men around, or a few people around him to kind of maybe, move him in the right direction. It's not so much his cunning wit or his smarts or his thinking outside the box that gains the respect of his followers. It's the symbol, it's the passion within him, it's that need to relate to the commoner, that need that all those down on their luck, poor people, cents, penny, all those people that are down there. It's all them rising up and sort of using him as this symbol. They admire him, right? They admire what he did because he's fucking crazy. And I think because I think he can become a bit wiser and live in that space more so than I think people think he can. And I think there's more of that story to tell. His rise in that, the people he meets, the effect he continues to have as he's continuing to rise. It has to be a story, if it's a sequel, in my mind, it's got to be a story of him continuing his rise, continuing his, and
ascent. What I would do?
Going up those stairs.
What I would do to please the fans in that version of, like, that sequel that you're describing and continuing the story arc of that Joker, when he's recaptured at the end of the film and he's back in Arkham, this time he's in his cell and it's a rainy, dark night, and he feels this presence, but he doesn't know what this presence is. And he walks up to the window and he looks up, and in the flash of the lightning, he sees the silhouette there, and all he says is, "You're going to be fun to play with." And we know it's Batman. And that's the first and only time that you see Batman. And maybe that's where you end it. You don't do the Batman story, but now we're here. We're at that point in their story arc. You may not see it, but we're going to give you just a little taste, and you just see the silhouette of Batman looking down as if he's looking down at the Joker.
Or what you do,
something like that.
Or what you do is at the the exact same thing you're talking about, but at the end of the second movie, like at the very end of the second movie,
right.
He looks up and he sees the bat signal.
Or exactly. Something like that. That
something
says,
like that.
We're here.
Right.
This is where we're at with the story arc.
Right.
You know, Batman
right. Because
too.
that tells you alone that now Batman exists in the world.
Right.
And you don't have to do anything.
And you don't have to do anything.
No,
right.
you don't have to do anything at all. You don't have to, because yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's just little things that, but I think logic, but it's a very tricky thing to do, because it is literally like doing a sequel to Taxi Driver. Yeah. See, that's what people have to understand, is that this is it's the archetype of the Joker that was used, and I know it's so good. People have been waiting for a really good DC movie in this Marvel Cinematic Universe, world.
Batman.
That it's like, oh man, this would be so great to. Unfortunately, it's kind of like, but this can't. It's like doing a sequel to Taxi Driver. It's like, what do? You do a sequel to Taxi Driver?
To Man of Steel, I did like Man of Steel. Did you like Man of Steel?
I
thought it was good.
I liked. Yeah, I thought it was okay. Yeah, I just didn't like. I don't want you
guys to think we're dissing all DC, but
no.
The reality
I just didn't like.
It hasn't been that entertaining.
I just didn't like I felt the relationship between Lois and Clark a little flat. I thought. I
agree. I did not like Amy Adams and Henry Cavill's like on-street chemistry as Lois and Clark at all.
I thought the problem was
Superman, or Lois and Superman, I should say.
I thought the problem was just that they revealed that that she found out that he was Superman too soon. I mean, part of the charm, and I know they're dated films, but part of the charm of Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeves was that she didn't know who. I mean, I know it's kind of silly to think now; it's very cartoony and comic booky. Oh, look, it's Dave McRae. It's not Dave McRae. It's Dave McRae.
The comic book explains that, though. I wish my brother was here because he's more into Superman. I'm more.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why. There's something with the glasses and how it like. I know it's all explained
all right,
and whatnot. But no, I agree with the chemistry between Henry and Amy. Well, I didn't like their chemistry at all.
Yeah, and I thought she found out too soon. Like, part of the charm and the anticipation, the fun of the Superman movie is that Lois Lane doesn't know Clark Kent is Superman, and she doesn't know through the entire first movie, and she doesn't know until halfway through the second movie of the original films. So there's a movie and a half. There's kind of a cute little kind of build up there, and then but in Man of Steel she knows like instantaneously, and it was just kind of like, so it was kind of flat. Like, it just felt kind of weird to me. But the effects were fantastic. Michael Shannon is amazing, and whatnot. But I thought it was okay. I'd have to see it again for sure. All right, Big G sends in a super chat and says Joker was great, but his laugh was annoying. It was supposed to be his ha 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 ha. It's supposed to be, because he's not actually being serious, right? He's doing that as a means to kind of it's sort of a coping thing. It's kind of, he's forcing himself to laugh as a it's like he's trying things out, like he's trying on new clothes, and he's not being serious when he does it. Like, when you watch the end of the movie and Murray kind of gives him a backward compliment, almost sort of insults him, at the same time, you'll see Arthur Fleck go like this, go, well, that's a genuine laugh, right? That's sort of his laugh, but his he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's mentally ill. He's doing this stupid, out of sync sort of, like, there's that great scene in the comedy club where the camera is just dollying in, right, with Arthur in the back, and it's dollying in, and the comedian will say something, and Arthur's timing is all off. Like, you'll hear the audience laugh, and then the comedian will say something that's completely just normal, I was in bed the other day, and Arthur goes, ha, 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 ha. It's like, what are you doing? You're not. He's not very smart. You know what I mean? But
smart at the same time.
Smart in the sense that he's very emotional. And he feels things very intensely, and he begins to realize how alone he really is, and that's when we really start to see this I just don't give a fuck anymore. And somebody who doesn't give a fuck is a very dangerous person. Yeah, for sure.
The Manhammer AR-15, Sir Dave. A lot of the average audience didn't like Joker. They said it was boring and were expecting lots of Action, LMAO, laughing my ass off. So was that the average that of the $50 to $60 million budget in return profit was over $1 billion, that thought it was boring? Is that the audience that gave it an 88% on Rotten Tomatoes that thought it was boring? Yeah. Come back with another one, bro.
Yeah, I guess it depends on who you mean by average audience. I mean, you know,
for a budget of 50 and made over $1 billion.
I actually think most people liked the movie, even the average audience. I think
R-rated too, by the way.
Yeah, it was R-rated. That's right. That's right. Yep, absolutely. Zach Axiola says, at Dave McRae, if given the opportunity, would you be glad to attend the world premiere of Halloween Kills like you did for 18? Sure. Of course, TIFF happens every September here in Toronto, and it is entirely possible that I think Halloween Kills will play at TIFF. I think well, maybe not. It depends what Universal wants to do. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if it played at TIFF again. Will it be the world premiere at TIFF? I don't know.
Not me. I'm going to go the first morning show of that week, and when there's nobody in the theater, and enjoy it by myself.
It's good. Hey, if Halloween Kills does play at TIFF, and if it is going to be the world premiere, I'm going to be gone. You know I'm going to be gone. Super chat comes in from Frank Riker, says, I had Tom Atkins over for dinner. And
good old Tom!
He's busting everybody's balls, folks. And he told me the ending of Halloween ends. Apparently, Patrick Swayze's ghost hops into the body of Michael Myers and teaches dancing teenagers in the Catskill.
While whooping their ass as a roadhouse bar bouncer, right?
The fact that Frank sent in a super chat to make that. Yeah, exactly. It just makes why Frank is just so awesome.
Actually, I do like Roadhouse, though. I'm not gonna lie, I do like Roadhouse. I don't mind. I'll watch it. That's one of my guilty pleasure movies. You know, Sam Elliott, Patrick Swayze. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's so bad, it's good.
Yes,
that's my opinion of Roadhouse.
Cool. Let me see here. Jason Looper says, speaking of which, would do a Halloween Kills review in the same style of your house. Oh, I see. Would I do? I don't know. It depends on how I feel. It depends on what sort of effect Halloween Kills has on me. I'm not sure. We'll see. I did the epic review for the 2018 film the way I did because obviously a lot of my channel was leading to that point. I was covering the film a lot and doing all sorts of videos and all that kind of jazz. So, and I went to the 40th, anniversary convention, and so there was a lot. It was the Force Awakens of Halloween in terms of it's been gone for a while, it's coming back. They're supposed to be going back to the old school, Carpenter's back and Curtis is back and Nick Castle's back. So it was that obviously it wasn't as big as the Force Awakens, but that sense of, for Halloween fans, for horror fans, it was that kind of thing, right? So there was a lot of anticipation around it. It was really, really exciting. This time around, the novelty's worn off a bit. I'm not nearly as excited for Halloween Kills as I was for Halloween 2018, not because I don't think it was going to, I want it to be good. I really do. I always want the films to be good, but the novelty is sort of worn off a bit. So now it really depends on, certainly I'll give my thoughts, but whether I'll do like an epic review like I did before, I don't know. It depends on how I feel. We'll see.
Yep.
Big G says, sends a super chat. Thank you. Big G says, I was going in to see Joker. Guy said De Niro dies. Well, that's fucking sucky. That's brutal.
I hate when people ruin
That's
films.
brutal. Hey, Tabitha Short is here. In case anybody hasn't noticed, Tabitha Short is a new moderator. I have appointed her as a new moderator as well to join the likes of Frank and Tony and Darren and Jason. Jason, I haven't received your email. Did you say yes or no? Because for some reason I haven't received your message yet. I'm appointing some new moderators, and Tabitha and Jason were two that I've been eyeing for a while and wanted to sort of
Jason
get
Knight,
them on
that's
here.
A creepy comment. That almost seems like you're stalking me, bro. Hey, Tony, I thought you'd be bigger. You're like, you got me kind of worried there for a minute, bro. Like, I mean, I'm
That's
5'10".
funny. Yes, I emailed you. Okay, cool. Yeah, for some reason I haven't seen the email yet. Okay, Jason, awesome. Awesome stuff. Yeah, we're trying to sort of, as the channel grows, we're trying to just sort of, I'm appointing certain moderators. I mean, I know there are probably lots of people that would love to be a moderator. I can't make everybody a moderator, or everybody would be a moderator and you'd be, deleting each other's. But I wanted, there's certain people, there's certain people I wanted to appoint. Certain people I wanted to appoint for a variety of reasons, just as we grow. So now I have 5 moderators. And of course, that way, there's usually always going to be somebody kind of in the chat monitoring things. So, and maybe we'll grow. As the channel grows, who knows? I might need 10 moderators eventually. You never know. You never know. But okay, great, Jason. I haven't received your email yet for some strange reason, but you said yes. So cool. I will do it. And Dave, thanks for not reading my question. Did I not read your question? Sorry, Tabitha. Tabitha says, has anyone seen the count? Tabitha's probably like, yeah, shut up, Dave. Read my fucking question. Has anyone seen the movie Countdown? You download an app and it tells you when you die.
Movie. I've seen the preview for it, but no, I haven't watched it.
Oh, anyone seen Ready or Not?
That was at the beginning. That was actually, wasn't that the beginning? One of the trailers at the beginning of Joker, I think. I think it was at the beginning of our Joker trailer.
Ah, I'm not sure. I can't remember. I haven't seen that one though.
I'm almost positive because I haven't seen too many films in theaters over the last few months. Only a handful, and I'm almost positive that was playing in front of the Joker trailer.
Cool. I have not seen that movie. No. And then Frank says, anyone seen Ready or Not? I haven't seen it, but I'm dying to see it.
You can't hide.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find you. The Fugees.
The Fugees. Haven't seen that movie. I really want to see it because a girl I went to high school with is in it. So she plays. Yeah. Her name's Melanie Scrofano, and we were good friends in high school. And she actually plays Winona. Is it Winona Earp? Winona Earp. Am I saying that right?
Earp.
On Sci-Fi. She's the lead. She's Winona. Is it Winona? Is that her name? I'm fucking probably not right on that. Anyway, yeah, she's on. Let me just see her. She's in that movie, so I have to see it. Melanie, if you're watching, I'm sorry I haven't seen it yet. I gotta watch it. I'm so sorry. Let me see here. Where are you, Jason? There you are. Okay, all right. Sorry, Tony. I interrupted you like 3 times. There was something you were going to say.
I forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm so fucking sorry about that, dude. I was right in the middle of it.
You're good. Oh, someone was asking us. Colin asked us, Dave and Tony, what are the movies we're looking forward to this year? Halloween Kills, for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing Quiet Place 2. I know that's not on top of your list, but I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm just looking through what's coming out this year. Quiet Place 2, Halloween Kills, Top Gun, obviously. Fucking can't wait to see that shit. I don't really care for Bond. I'm not a Bond guy.
I'm looking forward to Bond.
Never watched any of the Bond movies, to be honest with you. Black Widow.
They're good. I think
I'm pretty much checked out now after Endgame. I don't really care for the MCU, and I don't care the TV shows that they're doing. I'm just being honest. I have no desire. Now that Endgame is done, I just really don't have a desire. Fast and Furious, I don't really care about that anymore now that Walker's no longer with us and not doing them. Wonder Woman, that looks okay. I'm just going. Well, it says Bill and Ted is coming out, but I don't know. There's no trailer, so I don't know if that's definitely or not. But if it is coming out this year, that would be another one. Ghostbusters Afterlife, obviously that looks cool. Tenet looks fucking amazing. I mean, Chris Nolan. You got anything to throw in there, dude, that I'm missing?
I would say
Conjuring. The Conjuring is supposed to come out. The third one. That obviously, I love that universe. Terrifier 2. That comes out in October.
Yeah, I would say I'm looking
here, but that comes out.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bond. I'm looking forward to Top Gun.
Kong versus Godzilla.
Halloween. Kong. Yeah. Kong versus Godzilla. The Invisible Man, I wouldn't mind seeing. It's not one of my top, but I wouldn't mind seeing that. Tenet,
Coming to America too.
Coming to America too. Yes, yes.
We got a good nostalgia year this year. We really do. Some good Tom Cruise got Top Gun. We got Coming to America too. Halloween you can throw in the nostalgia category. In Sonic, I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen Sonic and you were a fan of the game in the 90s and you loved Jim Carrey 1990s and you grew up with that, Ace Ventura Mask and fucking Dumb and Dumber, you're going to have fun with this. It's not a nostalgia film, but it makes you, it feels like it at the same time. And it was one of those movies that I had no expectations and walked out of like, damn, that was fucking fun.
Cool.
You know, like it was just and I haven't been to a movie in a while where you just walked out of like, yeah, that was fucking fun.
That's cool. Lost Boy Boyus sends a super chat. No, wait a minute. No, Robert Thidoff sends in a super chat. Well, they both did, but let's start from the top here. Thank you very much, guys. Guys, I see you starting Helen Hunt on Demand. Thank you for the super chat, Robert, but I'm not quite sure I understand your question.
Is it a movie by Helen Hunt?
Maybe. That's on demand?
The only thing I've ever seen by Helen Hunt in a movie, to be honest with you, is Twister. That's really the only Helen Hunt film. I'm not. Oh no, I'm sorry. I did see As Good as It Gets. That's a great film with Jack and her. But yeah, I was never really big into Hunt. Were you?
No, not really.
I never even watched her show. What was that?
Mad About You. Yeah.
Never really watched that.
Lost Boy Boyus says, in A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1, and when Nancy walks to school, she sees a man in a black suit with sunglasses. Then he vanishes. Do you know if that was Robert Englund? Do I know if it was... was that supposed to be Robert Englund actually the actor, or do I think it's Freddy? No, I actually think it was just supposed to be a cop. I think it was, I don't think that was really anything sinister. I think it was just that she was being watched by the authorities because
you're wrong. It was the Man in Black from Halloween 5. Plot twist. The Man in Black.
I thought you actually had some information that I wasn't privy to. And I was like, oh, do tell. I'm excited. I always get excited when there's no, I think it was because she was being followed, right? And essentially set up. I mean, she, because her father used her in order to find Rod, right? So I think it was sort of like, he was just supposed to be kind of a cop that was watching her, and he doesn't, dematerialize. Like, it's not like a Michael thing where he's there, Nancy, is looking, and then all of a sudden he's gone. She does look away, and when she looks back, he's gone. So I think it's just sort of, it's kind of weird, right? It's that, who is this kind of guy, or whatever. I think that's supposed to be just like a cop, who's watching her. I don't believe it was Robert Englund, the actor, though. I don't think so. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I have no idea. Let's see. Lost Boys follows up with another super chat. Says, gave me H6 vibes before H6. You mean the Elm Street thing? Cool. Let's see here. Another super chat from Frank Riker says, DT, what's your Dancing Down the Stairs song? Dave and Tony, what's your...
Like what Joker does in the movie?
Yep.
There's a long list for me.
Long list of songs, man.
That can get me up and going and just fucking feeling good.
Yeah, there's a long list of songs. There's a long
list for that. A lot of good 60s music does that for me. Like good 60s tunes just to while out to is good.
Right.
That's because I mostly listen to a lot of the shit our parents grew up listening to and the shit that we grew up listening to. I don't really listen to much modern stuff. Right.
Just because I think I have a few of my moderators now in the chat. Just to, I saw that I think Tabitha deleted something that the Manhammer AR-15 said, Tabitha, no worries, doll. I completely, you see, and you deleted it again. That's okay, Tabitha. That question I think is okay, because the reason why, because it's an inside joke. It's me doing my Trump impression, and Kevin Bacon's boner is actually a thing from the first Friday the 13th movie, and there's a guy on here that has a channel, and I think the Manhammer just wants me to do an impression. So that's okay. That's okay. And don't. It's
been a Trumpless night, man.
It has, and that's not Tabitha's fault. She's doing her job. Don't piss Tabitha off, folks. Don't piss her off. She's gonna be crazy. No, but like I said to everybody, I encourage debate. I encourage, even if the debate gets a little heated, right? Like, oh man, I don't like, Yeah, exactly. I don't mind heated debate. I don't mind debate. I don't mind, witty comments back and forth, a bit of, jostling and, poking fun at each other, all in a good, fun way. It's more of the bullying and the Devantes of the group that come in and start insulting people. And that's more of that kind of thing. Now, if somebody was to start talking politics in the room, like in a serious way, right? Like, so what do you guys think of you can just kindly say, it's not the form, for that. We're trying to kind of not have that, whatever. But yeah, exactly. But I do understand because Tabitha is new in the sense of being a
I've done it.
I
did it.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure.
You don't mean to do it because you're getting used to it, and you're just
exactly.
Like, oh, shit.
And I would do it too. Actually, I think I have done it before. I've looked. I'm like, oh no, that's actually that's okay. But yeah, Tabitha, totally understand why you did that. 100%. Not mad at all. Totally understand. But that's an inside joke thing. The Manhammer AR-15 is cool. He's okay. Yeah. No, he's cool. But yeah. So Tabitha, Jason, and Frank and Darren and Tony, the guy Tony. Yeah, that Tony right here. This Tony.
Got like a SWAT team of moderators.
I do. It's the Fancy Five or the Freaky Five or wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Tabitha says sorry. Good. No, that's okay. That's okay, Tabitha. It ain't your fault. It ain't your fault. I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, oh, hang on a sec here. Trump, Kevin Bacon's boner. That's wildly inappropriate. Like, I totally understand. But it's actually in the first Friday the 13th, Tabitha. I don't know if you've seen it, but or I know you've seen it, but I don't know, if you remember. But there's that weird shot where Kevin Bacon's crotch is in the frame and he's got a boner. It's really weird. And it's like sawed off. It's like he's got really awkward. So I made this joke about it one time and I said, wouldn't it be funny if somebody made an account dedicated to Kevin? And then somebody made an account called Kevin Bacon's Boner and it has that picture. It's just so silly. It's so funny. Yeah, not a big deal. Tabitha, you are going to be, you've seen it. Yeah, see, there you go. You know what I'm talking about. Tabitha knows what I'm talking about. Tabitha's going to be great. You're going to be awesome. Jason's going to be great. Takes a bit to get the flow of thing, right? Frank's the veteran here.
I can't do it like Dave, but you're going to be good.
You're going to be great, Tabitha. It's going to be amazing. Tabitha is tremendous. She's the best. She's the brightest. You see, I love women. I love women. I love women. I love women. They're great. They're amazing. They're fantastic. It's just the way it is. It is tremendous. Kevin Bacon's boner is
amazing.
Tremendous.
Okay, here we go. All
right. On with the scene.
Hey, Tony, which Metallica song is your favorite? Also, have you seen their live performance on YouTube? I've seen them live in concert. They were here in Atlanta about a year and a half.
Who was that?
Metallica.
Metallica. Yeah.
I have a favorite album by theirs. My favorite album by them is Ride the Lightning, and I love Ride the Lightning. I love For Whom the Bell Tolls, but Fade to Black, man, is such a fucking great song. The whole album is good. Kill 'Em All is a good album too. Master of the Puppets is a great album, but I listen to Ride the Lightning the most. The Black Album I was just listening to this past week is down there, and I like the Black Album. That got a little bit more commercial poppy, with a lot of hits off of there.
Right.
But still a good album. I don't hate it. I know a lot of Metallica fans didn't like the Black Album initially. When it came out in the late 80s, early 90s, but I know it's grown on people over the years, and it's a great album. But yeah,
cool.
I gotta go with Ride the Lightning.
Cool.
The album,
cool.
Not just the song.
Gotcha. Robert Thidoff, hang on, let me go back. Super chat. Oh, wait a minute, hang on. Dancing on the Stairs song. Okay, Big G sends in, Dave, your song on the stairs is Oh Paul. It is. It's Oh Paul. I give you all.
But it's not just Oh Paul. It's the Oh Paul remixed with I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us. I had to catch up to your beat for a second to do that. I think I did it in rhythm.
Oh, Paul.
I wish I had you all alone.
All alone.
Oh, Paul.
Oh, Paul. No keys.
Oh.
I think we just have it. We have it now, folks. We have the song. We have the song. That would be funny. Super chat from Robert Thidoff says, I See You starring Helen Hunt is a great movie on demand now and DVD. Okay. Okay, cool. I haven't seen it. Big G follows up with, says, D plus T, Linda Carter or Gal Gadot? Who is best looking?
For Wonder Woman?
Linda Carter or Gal Gadot?
I gotta go with Linda Carter. I mean, Gal Gadot's pretty, don't get me wrong, but she's too thin. I like Linda Carter because Linda Carter's got a little curve on her, and I like my girl with just a little meat on her. Just a little meat, little meat that I can grab onto,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. It could be good in there. Terrell Sims says, have you guys ever seen No Country for Old Me? You mean for old men? For old me? You mean you? You? I haven't seen that one. That sounds amazing. I think Terrell means men. Yes, and it's really good. Really like that movie a lot, actually. Yeah. All right, we'll go for a few more minutes here. A few more minutes, and then we'll call it a evening. We've been 2 hours 38 minutes, so that's pretty good. Lost boys.
You don't want to end it at 11:11 tonight?
Oh God, that's another like hour. That's like 2 hours almost. That'd be fun though.
That would be an epic stream.
That'd be an epic stream. Lost Boys Boyas says, Dave, have you seen Visiting Hours? 1982, filmed around Montreal, Quebec. Actually, that would be Montreal, Quebec. We just say Montreal, Quebec. Canada, and ended up on the infamous video nasty list. What's the infamous video nasty list? I've never heard of that. Have you heard of that, Tony?
Never heard of that. Mm-mm.
Never heard of that. Visiting Hours I have heard of. I haven't seen it, though. Big G says, Dave and Tony love the remix of Oh Paul.
Oh Paul, wish I had you all alone. Actually, that works. Oh Paul, I wish I had you all alone.
Oh Paul. Oh Paul.
We have.
Oh man, Jim Dorsey, my man, Jim Dorsey. How about another Joker? Tony, McRae, Tony. Oh, awesome stuff. Jason Lopper says, hey, Dave, not sure why I thought of this just now, but you feel like a guy who should have his own late night TV comic show. You're just too good. I missed it. Where is it? You're just too good to join something like SNL. I'm too good to join something like SNL, or I'm good enough to join. You're too good to join something like SNL. You should have your own. Hey, if anybody wants to give me a late night talk show, if anybody wants to hire me to go on to SNL, we can talk. It's certainly not something I certainly would be open to talking about that. Giving me a late night show. Sure. Why not? I'll bring Tony on. He can be my Ed McMahon.
Absolutely.
We'll take two dudes and some bullshit to Comedy Central. How about that?
Yeah.
Let me know for that.
Hey, by the way, what did you we'll get you guys a question here in a second. I didn't get a chance to ask you, but what did you think of the Batsuit Pattinsons?
Oh,
I didn't even ask you before we went live. I totally forgot.
Yeah, well, listen, I obviously I made that video that, satirical.
Oh, the satirical one.
Yeah. Oh my God. And fucking boys sparkling. Yeah. No, I actually, I fall on the side of, again, I look good to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just kind of like, it looks good. I mean, again, I don't, like, I see a lot of people saying things that I have no reference to because I'm not, like, oh, it looks like the Arkham thing or the night of the such and such or whatever.
Arkham Knight suit. Well, yeah. There's parts of it. It's not totally Arkham Knight. There's parts of it in the shoulder that has an Arkham Knight feel to it. Obviously, see, I'm in the 75% category of, is the emblem the gun that's melted on there? Like, yes, that was a big.
I see.
That was a big Detective Comic issue. I think the issue 1000 that Kevin Smith was a part of, where they they explore the lore of the Bat emblem and how how Bruce found the gun and he melted the gun that became part of the emblem on his chest to protect him.
Right.
Is that an early stage of it that he hasn't?
Maybe.
And maybe I'm not totally convinced. I also think it could be the batarang that he could take off and throw to hurt someone, because this is the true detective and gadgets and shit that we're gonna see in this Batman. So I'm like 75% it could be the gun, 25% it could be the Batarang, and that it's not the end suit that it eventually becomes. That this version of Pattinson's Batman, this is MacGyver Batman. This is the early stages of it. We're not at the Michael Keaton stage. We're not at the Bale stage where Wayne Enterprise is making him the suit and shit. This is, I'm going to MacGyver this shit together and figure it all out, and you're going to come along with me for the ride. And I fucking liked it.
Yeah, I look, I mean, and, again, it's just a 30-second video in red, lighting, and you hardly see it. It looks fine.
Yeah, and red lighting, everyone's like Daredevil. Like, dude, no, it looks why they did red lighting. I
feel the same way about that as I did when I saw Ben Affleck's suit. About when I saw Christian Bale's, I was like, looks good. Looks like Batman.
Looks good. Looks like Batman. A young Batman who made this shit himself. You know what I mean?
Looks
That's
like Batman.
It's supposed to look like.
Exactly. So I thought it was fun.
Great. The music was fucking really
very
good.
cool. Very cool. Yeah, for sure. David Lee Barron says, wasn't it the man in, thank you for the super chat, by the way, David, says, wasn't it the man in black cutting the pumpkin in Halloween 5 opening titles? I always thought that since I watched it when I was 7. It could be. I mean, do we ever see, I know we see the blade of the knife, but do we ever see the hand? Is it,
I don't think we've seen the hand.
Is it gloved? I'm not sure.
It's been a minute since I've watched that.
Yeah, could be. Let me see here. PC Pierce sends in a super chat, says, trapped on an island. You can bring 2 of the big 3 horror filmographies. Which are you bringing? 2 of the 3. Which gets left behind? Friday, Nightmare Summers, Halloween. I would probably bring, okay, so we're basing this on the filmographies. We're basing it on the series, not one-off. See, that's tough. That's tough because I adore Halloween 1 and I like Halloween 2. And of course there's Halloween 4. Leaving behind, you know what? I think I would probably take, in all honesty, oh man, that's tough.
I would take Halloween and Friday the 13th because if I'm stuck on an island, at least I can watch my Amy Steele, my Danielle, and Ellie. Yeah. And Jennifer Cook from Friday 6.
I think you're probably right. I think at the end of the day,
at least I got something fun to look at and nice.
But
I'm stuck and I got something easy on the eyes.
Yeah, for me, it would be more about like I don't like anything after Halloween 4. I don't particularly. I mean, of course, there's 2018, which is fine for what it is, but I mean like the original series, right?
Yeah.
And I don't really like anything after Friday the 13th. 6 certainly, and I'm not really like, I know 6 is that fan favorite, but for me, Friday the 13th is like 1 to 4, and then Elm Street, I like 1 and 2, and I like but
it's really 1, 2, and 3, and that's it.
And Halloween,
and Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Yeah,
it's tough. You know what? I may go Halloween and Elm Street. Yeah. I might do it. Halloween, Elm Street. And that's not because of the filmography of Halloween, like all the movies. It's just basically because of the first couple, that's
I got you. No, I got you.
Man. But you see, if Tony and I are stranded on an island together, he'll have Friday the 13th, and I'll have Elm Street, and we're done.
We're done. You never said that.
Loophole, baby. Loophole.
We're stuck there together. We got all 3 of them.
That's right. Frank Riker sends in a super chat and says, just got off the phone with John Carpenter and says, Michael winds up at the Boy and Girls Club and puts in many community service hours and Halloween ends. I'm done. Drops the mic. Frank, you are amazing. We love you, buddy. That's funny. That is funny. Lost Boys Boy super chat says, Tony, Batman or Iron Man? Go.
Batman.
Yeah, Batman for sure. There's just nothing.
Yeah, I'm not, like I said, I may like the Marvel Cinematic Universe as far as the movies. I never read anything Marvel. The only thing I read is Batman material. That's cool. It. I don't read anything. Well, I read some Deadpool shit, but very, very, very little. It's mostly Batman stuff that I read. And It's usually suggested by you wonderful people suggesting
that's right.
To read. So.
Absolutely. All right, guys, that is going to do it for Tony and I on episode 57 of Two Dudes of two dudes and some bullshit. Tony, should we tell the fine folks what's going on next week, or should we wait and let them drool over anticipation? What do you think? I mean, it's nothing major. It's not like we're, it's just, but it's actually, unorthodox.
I got something I want to throw at you. So no, let's hold off because I want to throw it at you off camera and see.
Okay.
What you think.
All right. I will hold off. Hey, episode 57, Joker. That's going to do it for us. You guys are amazing. We love you guys. We'll be back next Monday night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode 58. It's hard to believe we're moving up the ladder. Tony, any last things you want to say? Hey, if you want to follow me on my socials, it's right below in the comments and below my window. Tony Michael, of course.
Down there.
Yeah, Tony Michael photo, Tony Michael pics with 2 X's. You got to follow Tony, man. He's shooting some awesome shit. Awesome shit. So, any last words, Tony, or no?
No, man, this was a great stream. Had fun. Enjoyed walking the line with Joker. Enjoyed walking the line with Joker tonight with you guys.
I saw
what
you
I did there, huh?
I love it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for your questions. You guys are amazing. All righty, we'll talk to you soon. Cheers.